Good afternoon, 49ers fans, 49er faithful. We finally have a victory. Yes, indeed. Chester, you are in here with me. Yes, we won. I had to come on and do a special broadcast celebrating it. Cheers to the 49ers for taking home a hard-fought victory against the Bears. Man, a thriller down to the end for sure. Chester, I'm with you that Jimmy was solid today, real solid. The effort on those two keepers, I mean, tell me about it. That was fantastic. Fantastic. Go Niners, says Smooth Truckin'. Yes, the energy will be real. Grant sent you. Whatever reason you're here for, I'm glad you're here. Hell yeah, we are celebrating today. Finally, a victory, Niner faithful. A good feeling victory. One that we can walk away from with positive momentum as we head into a 2-game gauntlet. We are celebrating this one. Nick, across the pond, how you doing, man? Feeling good about that victory? Because I know that I am. Javier, I feel you. It is about damn time that we got here to this point. About damn time. People want to capitalize on the positive momentum, move on from Jimmy. Now, I tell you, I was frustrated by the fact that we got 0 snaps for Trey, but it was a close game. I guess I appreciate that Kyle wanted to keep it in Jimmy's hands. Jimmy was motivated by playing in front of his home crowd, as I predicted he might be. Chester, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's ugly. It doesn't matter if you put together, whatever it takes in the NFL. Sometimes you got to win ugly. Sometimes you have to be that team that takes home a close, ugly victory. And this felt like just that. Nick, oh my goodness. Debo was phenomenal again. I mean, you can't ask more from him, except that I'd maybe like him to go out and catch some bricks with Jerry Rice, really work on those hands to stop the drops. When you look at the number of drops he's had in the performance, if not for the drops, this would be an epic season. It's already an epic season. I'm not trying to get down here. I am staying positive. Gabriel coming in here. What's up, Gabriel? Bro, yes, indeed. Bro, that was fantastic. Saying that game wore me out a little. Yes, by the end, it definitely was tough. Austin saying, what's up? I am fired up. Let's go. Let's get this thing going. Yes, indeed. Robert coming in to celebrate. Let's go, Rob. That was a great game. Jimmy did well. No knocking him today. Yes, did enough to form what Ben says here, a 1-game win streak. That's what we've got going on right now. People celebrating. Debo, Chester in there. Daryl coming in. Elijah Mitchell. Let me get over to the stats here. Phenomenal game. I mean, I still would like to see greater numbers of carries for Elijah. If not for that last drive, he was only at around 14 carries coming into that last drive, maybe even fewer, maybe around 12. He ends up with 18 carries, 137 yards, 7.6 yard average for the young fella. I mean, he's playing so well. Again, there was an instance where I thought potentially he could have bounced it outside. He bounced it inside and ran right into the tackle instead of taking it to the house. But that's second level vision, and I think we're spoiled by Raheem Mostert and his amazing vision in the field. To see this from a 6th round back, just fires you up, brings up the energy level, makes you believe that we have something special in the backfield that you can build from. Let's keep it going in the comments. Niners, let's go, baby. Tess of J. God bless. Godspeed to all. Indeed, Godspeed to all. Debo's a beast. Benjamin Roberts calling it out. Indeed. Now, someone's pumping the brakes here. So, I mean, and it's fair to wonder what this test meant. I'm still celebrating it because it's been too long since I've celebrated. But Joe Mama comes in, relax. We struggled against the Bears. Let's see him put those stats up against the Cardinals and the Rams before we celebrate this trash bowl. I don't know. Justin Fields looked good today. You wonder if he looked good because of our defense. I don't think so. I think Justin Fields is a wildly talented kid, and you're starting to see him put it together a bit more, which is why the argument for getting people playing time. Devin coming in. Debo. People are fired up about Debo. Ben, you could be right here. I really wanted to see snaps for Trey, even in a situation like this, even when it was going to be a close game, tightly contested. I came in thinking that we were going to wrap this one up 24-16. I expected a better game from the defense, and toward the end of the game, I saw what I expected. The defense rebounded, even after playing time of possession was heavily in favor of Chicago for this one. We may have evened it up at the end. I'm going to look at it right now to see what our time of possession was. Yeah, even with the possessing the ball toward the end and running it down their throats to close the game, still ended up 37-23 as far as time of possession, with Chicago holding the ball for 37 minutes out of 60 minutes of regulation. So just hats off to the defense for finishing that one, for being able to come back in, continue to sack Fields. I mean, just phenomenal. Benjamin talking about snatching chains. Indeed, we have been looking good. Debo doing his thing. Gabriel calling out that next week we got Kittle back. Yes, there is something positive to build from 49ers fans. Kittle and Debo next week. And let's not forget that Brandon Ayuk, let's get into the stats here. Brandon Ayuk emerged at least a little bit, right? We're starting to see what we want to see out of Brandon Ayuk. What did he end up with the stats here? 4 for 45. Not fantastic, but did catch the 2-point conversion. Did have the punt return that was pretty decent. Sprung for a few yards just when we needed it. Set us up for really positive field position on that drive. It's not the bounce back game that if you're a fantasy football owner that you want to see from Brandon Ayuk, but goodness, it is absolutely fantastic to see him make something of it. People aren't all convinced. The notorious GAV Gavin coming in. We beat a rookie quarterback. We're still not making the playoffs. Hey, I don't know, but it is a start. I want to stay up with most people here to make sure I'm current on the comments today to get the excitement Nick in here. Bring on the Cardinals next week. Yes, indeed. We've got to be able to match up against these better teams. We've got to raise our level of competition here against this next couple of teams coming up. David pointing out that, yes, offense right now is still consistent, completely reliant on Debo and Elijah Mitchell. I agree, but is it the end of the world to have two studs there with George Kittle coming back next week? If George Kittle can round into a little bit of form, which would admittedly be really the first of the season getting into what I want to see out of George Kittle. But you telling me that with a three-headed attack, we couldn't get this thing done? We couldn't get the ball running? Especially if you continue to see quality grabs from Mohamed Sanu, who appeared to step into a bit of the veteran leader role that you would like to see within the wide receiver core. I still do believe that the 49ers are missing a bit of leadership, but I'm starting to see it from the head coach. I'm starting to see it from various players on the field. People are optimistic. Gabriel talking about Kittle will be back. Elijah, Kittle, Samuel, trifecta. That is what I am talking about. There is definitely room for hope on this one. The notorious GAV at least asking, could this game be a turning point for Ayuk's season? Something has to be that turning point. Don't you see the talent there? I do. I see it there, and I have faith that Ayuk can turn it around. I don't honestly know if it's going to be this season. I don't know that he will get it right. At some points early on, it's felt like he's so off, it may take some time to get back. I was hoping it would just be flip a light switch and it comes back on for him. I'm not entirely convinced of that to this point, but hey, progress is positive signs at this point. Positivity, Chester. We can beat Arizona. I mean, look at what we did with Trey starting and a very questionable game plan. It is possible. Thomas giving credit to me. I don't know if credit is due, but I will absolutely take it. Rob Shuey says, with the power of positivity, you've earned us a win and a new subscriber. You know, I'll always take a new subscriber. As always, you know, I love doing this. I absolutely adore being on live, talking with you guys, creating the dialogue. if you love what I'm doing as well, it is helpful for the algorithm to push me out there to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and even hit the notification button so that when I come on randomly like this, you get notified of it. If you like the content, I appreciate everybody who does that. Absolutely, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate that. Robert coming in. If we did what we did, what we can beat the card. If we did what we did today, we can beat the Cards. I think that's true, although we started slow. I was questionable to start. I gotta recognize Gabriel coming in. DJ Jones, good game. Shout out to DJ Jones's dad's barbecue sauce right there. Here we go. Get DJ Jones in there. DJ Jones. Portion of the proceeds for this go to charity. I don't get compensated at all. I just like supporting good causes and DJ Jones. All right. Ooh, the notorious GIV, who is very much a fan of Kyle Juszczyk, pointing out that, yes, in fact, Juice had a solid game today. There was a lot of solid blocking that went on later in this game. Really appreciated the heart that I saw out on the field. How about you guys? Did you feel the same way? Calling this in the Shark, yes. Oh, man, K'Wan Williams, real solid tackling to this point. Look at Ryu, people getting optimistic. It's time for a little party. Ryu Ken coming in, road to the playoffs begin. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, it is the NFL Live music. Jimmy is our quarterback this season. Trey needs to sit and learn. I don't know about that personally. I'd like to see him worked in. I still believe this offense could really use a spark if and until George Kittle comes back in and really regains some type of dominance. It is easier to stop an offense that just has two main weapons. If the 49ers are limited to Debo and Mitchell, that is harder to stop. And I do think Trey coming in gives an element that defenses have to cover. Jan coming in talking about defense is suspect against the run. It was today a little bit, but you have to look at the fact that with the key injury, Kinlaw out, we may be a bit more vulnerable to the run. Without someone stepping up, we're not that stout in the middle when you have to move Armstead, who's a great edge setter against the run specifically. You move him inside, you lose some of that length on the inside, and you lose weight and height on the interior because he's got terrible leverage. Yes. I don't know if it's case yet, but Juan Santiago saying Kyler Murray out next week should help us out. If that were the case, that would definitely help us out. Gabriel calling out Azeez Al-Shaair. He is our thumper. I'll be glad when Dre Greenlaw is back so that we have the three quality linebackers. I did see the over pursuit by Flanagan Fowles on the escape by Justin Fields. But how about Justin Fields? I mean, just one hell of an athlete. You have to give him credit on that. I don't know that you can entirely lay that on Armstead or anybody who missed that tackle there. Trying to stay current to talk about what's going on, what you guys want to go through. Gabriel calls out Sermon needs carries. Mitchell's going to be sore. I agree with that one. Absolutely. Armchair quarterback one. Hasty had a nice catch. Yes, he did. I like seeing him as a receiving option on third down. I do too. It is strange to me that we can't get anybody else on third down, that no one else is really trusted on third down. That is odd to me with how prolific Elijah Mitchell was today, that you still just do not trust him at all for the third downs. And it must just be a blocking concern. Notorious GAV, thankfully I scrolled back up and I saw that. Can you see the brick? Yes, you can. Look, it's right behind the microphone. We're going to move the mic and the brick shall be revealed. Oh, there it is. There's the beauty. The brick. And it was feng shui, whatever the hell that is. Moving the brick from its previous location in the curio shelf there with all the other knickknacks and souvenirs over here behind me clearly changed the mojo for the 49ers. It's exactly what was needed. Yes, indeed. All right, keeping it. Yeah. Hey, I'm here with Cash McKinley on this one. The Rugby Mall TD was phenomenal. If you want to talk about heart, that was the entire offensive line pushing the pile into the end zone. How about that? Thomas talking about, yes, I am. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay, Joe Mama coming back in. I'll say this. Yes, Norman is a very handsy DB, but he does create or try to create turnovers almost all by himself. He's very good at that. I still think he has a lot left in the tank as a veteran. This one is, it's a big question for me. What is the better quality here? Because you do have to admit that he has grabbed a significant amount. The penalties are very concerning, but his ability, his headsy play, the peanut punch that he seems very adept at, the ability to punch out that ball, really critical. I do think that to this point, at least in this game, he showed me that there is something left. There is something left. Robert, I appreciate you reminding people to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to climb up to that 1,000 subscriber mark. Let's get it there for sure. Let's get it there for sure. Okay. Yeah, Sergeant H USMC says, let's not get ahead of ourselves. A little bit of pumping the brakes here. And I get it. I get wanting to pump the brakes. We have only beat teams under 500. If you look at it today with the Eagles beating the Lions, I mean, the Lions are winless. The Eagles now have, 3 victories on the season? So teams we have beat prior to today against the Bears were a combined 3 and whatever. So yes, agreed that we haven't beat good teams. I did think Chicago was starting to put it together today. Then the question becomes, are they putting it together on offense because our defense was suspect, because the defense started out rough? They were able to finish even though the time of possession was way off. And I'm so impressed by that. Absolutely. Gavin's impressed by the brick. He loves to see it. You got to love seeing a random brick sold to you by a billionaire. You can't question that, can you? You probably can. You can probably question that. It's a magic brick. Benjamin Roberts coming in. The real winner today is no pass interference calls. Yes, I got nervous anytime the deep shot, but they did it. They had 1 holding penalty. That is fantastic. I'm taking away the positive. I get it that people are not all that excited. General Meow coming in, who's been down on the 49ers, just to preface anyone who's not following General Meow's opinions on this, but he came in expecting us to win. So we win. We beat the Bad News Bears. Not a shocker. Not a shocker. Oh, calling out Ebukam. Yes. Shout out to the young fella for getting that first sack. I believe it was his first sack. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. It's nice to see guys, Armchair says, also it's nice to see guys make up for their mistakes like Ebukam getting the sack after the penalty. Absolutely. I really thought that the 49ers defense showed heart today, showed real heart. Absolutely. Juan predicting that, I tried to hit Juan there, but then it skipped and I went to Lopakalolo. I like it. Correct. Can't get ahead of ourselves. So people are pumping the brakes. I get it. Juan is predicting that Kyler's out next week. Let's see if that prediction comes to fruition. Caesar coming in talking about, let's see which Jimmy G we get next week. Hey, fair question. Jimmy looked good today. That's the way I'm feeling, that Jimmy looked good, showed heart. Couple of drops early certainly helped us and made me initially nervous that we weren't going to be able to convert a significant number of third downs. I thought we were going to see a repeat of last week against the Colts, but they stuck with it. They absolutely stuck with it. They got the run game going slowly, and the stars stepped up. Debo stepped up. Elijah Mitchell stepped up. Juice stepped up. Trent Williams, aside from the holding penalty, absolutely stepped up. Charlie Warner had some amazing blocks. I see Juan coming in here talking about Charlie Warner right here. Absolutely. I do think it's fair to ask this question. Are we going to beat anyone beyond the Texans and the Jaguars? There's a lot of tough teams left on the schedule. Totally a fair question. I'm riding the optimism right now at this point in time. I am choosing to take these positive feels and just soak them in a little bit. Because after 4 losing weeks back to back to back, I got to tell you, 49er faithful, I was having a hard time keeping positive. I needed this. Needed this. I hope you did too, and I hope you're feeling it. All right, Cash coming in. Rob, you feel torn seeing Jimmy G play well. Feels so good to win, but think most of us are ready for Trey. I do and I don't. So I am a 49ers fan first and foremost. I am rooting for whomever is behind center because whomever is behind center is going to dictate the outcome of the game. And I always feel better on a Sunday with a Niners victory. How about you? But I do see the long-term play in this. And I do agree that this was the Chicago Bears we're talking about. I came in predicting a win. Even after 4 straight losses, I stayed optimistic and looked at it 24-16. Defense didn't play how I wanted to, but Jimmy stepped up. What I didn't see that I really wanted to see from Coach Shanahan was working the rookie into it. My only hope is that that was done because Trey was truly not 100%. He was good enough to be the backup. He was a better option than Nate Sudfeld, which probably isn't saying much with how few snaps Sudfeld has gotten under center in practice. But my hope is he wasn't 100%, so Kyle wasn't willing to risk it. But if that's what we see going forward, that really is frustrating to me because I feel that those snaps for Trey, look at the progression Justin Fields took today. He's special. Trey is that type of special. All right, fresh commenter coming in. Vinks coming in. Castro Peppers, solid win. 400 yards and defense did their job. Is that what we racked up on offense? Look at this. I haven't even gotten into the team stats yet. Let's look at this and then come back to the freaking comments. First downs, Niners 21, Chicago 22. So both teams moving the ball. The difference is most of those first downs for the 49ers came late. Chicago got out early with a lot of moving the ball early, getting those first downs in the first half, but the 49ers came back, stuck with it. Unbelievable. Total plays, Chicago had 67, Niners 54. That leads into that time of possession discrepancy that, again, makes the defensive performance to close out the game so impressive in my book. The 49ers only possessed the ball for 23 minutes. The Bears for 37. That is a lot of snaps on defense. 67 snaps on defense. And they managed to close it out. Rushing, obviously, with Justin Fields in there, it helped out. The Chicago Bears gave up 176 rushing yards. You do wonder, depending on the health of Kyler Murray, is that the stat to focus on this week when thinking about how we'll match up against Arizona? Because as you know, Kinlaw lost for the year. But the hopeful stat in rushing is the 49ers for a $145. Almost all of that coming from Elijah Mitchell. And when it wasn't Eli, it was Jimmy G with heart into the end zone. How are you guys feeling about the stats? How are you feeling about the way in which we played today? Oh, people are bringing up General Meow is calling out Debo for MVP. I love it. Lapakalolo coming in. Defense thrives on how the offense plays. Yes, this is a very important call out, and thank you for putting it in the chat, Lapakalolo. Is this complementary football concept for the San Francisco 49ers? This is a team that is really built to be successful around balance. Everything on offense is about staying ahead in the chains to create short, sustainable third down conversions, setting things up off of successful runs. So those successful formations for the runs lead to people creeping up into the box. Defenders, I saw some 9-man boxes being played today by Chicago, right? Chicago was playing on the fact that the Niners are not taking the deep shots. You saw a couple of instances today where we were able to get deeper shots, at least intermediate shots down the field, and take advantage of that. But it's about setting up that run to then set up the play action, to then run a jet sweep out of the same formation and possess the ball and not go 3 and out, and therefore allow the defense that complementary style of football. To start this game, it wasn't there, but the 49ers didn't panic, and that is fantastic news. Fantastic. Juan coming in with a question, thoughts on Hufonga's first start? I'll be interested to see the response. I felt very positive that there were no big mistakes that I saw. He seems to have a nose for the ball in that he didn't make any big plays that I saw, no momentum changing plays, but was solid. And in a first start, what more am I really looking for? I think that I'm comfortable with a guy who has flash turnover ability to come in and play solid to begin with. It seems to me as a very positive takeaway here. All right, continuing on the comments, because I want to know what you guys are keying in on to take the conversation where you want to see it. That's where we're going to roll, and then I'll bounce back and forth between the stats and the breakdown of the game. As always, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, you are always welcome here, and I encourage the chat all day because I love to interact with you 49er faithful. That is my favorite part of this thing, is that interaction. Robert Pacheco coming in. Today is a good day. Damn right it is, Robert. I'm with you. We won. 49ers victory. That's all that matters till next week. I like this mindset. Live in the moment. Live in the moment, 49ers fans. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I get the concern. We're headed into a 2-game gauntlet coming up against division opponents who both only have one loss in the loss column. Yes, they will be very difficult games. That said, we won today. We won today. The 49ers are victorious on Sunday for the first time in 6 weeks, dude. 6 weeks. Celebrate it. Smile today. Enjoy the fact that we beat Chicago. There are no trash teams in the NFL. Well, occasionally there are trash teams in the NFL. But be honest with yourself. The difference between the worst team in the league and the best team in the league is not as big as you believe it is. It's why every year you see teams go from worst to first, because there's a small margin of victory in the NFL. And teams, when things are rolling, you see greater effort on the field. Once you start losing, there's a little bit of regression from the players, and it's a domino effect. It's a small sample size with only 17 games. Zombieland coming in. I don't know if I've gotten to you yet, but Jimmy Fanboy's gloating because he had a decent game but missed the big picture. So I don't consider myself a Jimmy Fanboy. Hopefully, you don't see myself as one in my coverage, but if you do, you do. That's okay. I see it realistically in that I think I know at this point what Jimmy G brings to the table, and I think you all do too. Now, some people are unnecessarily down on him, and that's not me. I don't think you have to kick a guy when he's down, but you know what he is. It's a troublesome combination of seeming inconsistency / inability to really push the ball down the field, to really push it outside of the numbers. That becomes very limiting as an offense, and NFL defenses have absolutely keyed in on that fact. They play up on the line of scrimmage. They cover the center of the field. They disguise coverages because they know that Jimmy G is prone to turnovers, and that's the second concerning part about Jimmy and his limitations. If you're going to be more of a game manager where you're not taking the deep shots, not completing the big chunk plays, then you need to hold on to the ball. And Jimmy, to this point, has an inability to not turn it over. Today was an exception to that rule, but I agree that typically that's what I expect from him, which is why, for me, big picture, it is all about the snaps for Trey Lance, because every game he should be getting more and more comfortable. And I don't think that that's happening if he's sitting on the sideline there. Whoa, the chat's flooding up. I got to keep it going here. All right, trying to get to anybody that I haven't hit. Fern79, don't think I hit you yet. We want Trey, but happy to see Jimmy play well. That's my mindset here. Fern nailed it for me. I do want Trey. I don't need to see him starting, but I need to see a progression toward that. But I'm glad Jimmy played well. Jimmy played well, and we won today. That is a fantastic piece of news. That makes me smile. Makes me smile. It is fair to question whether he can get it done. Okay, Thomas with some stats. I like stats. Jimmy with a 300-plus yard game. I was happy to eat crow. I hope most people are in your case, and I applaud Thomas for eating that crow. I mean, kudos to you. But he follows that up. He's still on a short leash with me. I think he should be with Kyle Shanahan, too. Thomas, I don't think that that's an unreasonable circumstance, and I applaud you for changing your stance after Jimmy looked good. David W. coming in. Debo broke Jerry Rice's 49er record for most receiving yards in the first 7 games of a season. I love it. I love it. If he can address the drop situation, which Granted, with his performance, I'm completely forgiving at this point. But if he could just head out to the brickyard with Jerry Rice and catch some bricks, baby, just start catching the bricks, really work with the jugs machine. If he becomes a complete player like that, oh my goodness, he is special already. If he completes his game and really becomes a true deep receiving threat, a guy with good hands, oh, goodness gracious, 49ers fans should be optimistic with that. All right, let's see what's going on. Chester Gray back in, who was one of the first in here, so kudos for the early arrival, Chester. Jimmy is the best option at QB. Only if we are winning. Once the season gets out of reach, we should get the rookie in. Totally agree with that. My problem with waiting until we're mathematically eliminated is how far it may take to be mathematically eliminated this year. With the 17-game system and the 17-game season and the 7 playoff team format with 3 wild cards. It could really go down to the wire where week 16 or week 17 is deciding a lot of these. And the 49ers and the other inconsistent teams that are sitting in that wild card 7th spot right now or within a game of it all feel like they could be at not wildly impressive win-loss records, right? So, yeah, I think that we need to start the transition before that. Adam Power, seeing it for the first time, almost would have rather seen us lose. Now it just buys Jimmy more time at QB, and he played decent today for sure. But how about against an actual good team? I can't get with you on this one, Adam, in that the 49ers victory means too much to me. My week is not determined by the success of this football team, but my mood is just phenomenally affected by the outcome of that game. I can't help it. I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. It sits there and it beats proudly, bleeding red and gold. I can't help it. So I gotta see the positivity. For me, that's the way I look at it. I would much rather have had the victory, but agree concerning not to work in the rookie Trey Lance. I need to see the progression. I hope that he heals up this week, gets more of the snaps in practice, or at least is there for the game plan implementation. Be good to go from there. Juan pointing out, K'Wan Williams is nasty when he's rolling. The Shark. How about the Shark today? He looked good, didn't he? Didn't he? Weren't you guys fired up with the way K'Wan Williams was just all over the field? I know that I was. Here's one addressed to me. Here's one to me. Nick coming in from across the pond. Here we go. Acid tests are the next 2 games. If we win both, we've turned the corner. If we lose both, then probably we are where we are, and less than 500 team. Yeah, this one really will tell us where we're at. You could say, hey, I know where the 49ers are. They're 3-4, and they're not a very good football team. I'd be hard-pressed to dispute that at this point in time. I was with Matt Mayoko last week when he made the switch to you lose 4 in a row, you have to say you're a bad football team. This gives me some hope. This gives me some optimism. This sets up an opportunity for the 49ers to really get rolling. But believe me, when I say and have said that I see this as a more talented team on paper than their record shows. But in the NFL, you are what your record says you are until you prove differently. The 49ers must continue to put together solid football like they did today. And they started the game questionably. Now, my hope would be that we can carry this positive momentum from this game into next week. My hope is that what we saw the slow start maybe was a little bit of the early start time, right? Don't forget, this was an East Coast start time game or whatever the start time is in where we played today. But it is not a West Coast start time, right? So you have to say that in Chicago, they were a little tired to begin. That's, I'm sticking with that. Benjamin Roberts coming in. The pass at the end of the half is one of the best passes I've seen from Jimmy G. He really did lay that in. Absolutely. Chester, this is in response to an earlier one, so I'm going to take this as an opportunity to acknowledge someone put in, is Debo hurt above? And I don't think so. I agree with Chester that he was in the whole game. It would be news to me, but I did see him hurting. I saw moments on the sideline where you watched Debo Samuel obviously in some sort of discomfort, obviously feeling pain. To me, it looked to be in the chest area. And that strikes me as less concerning because they're typically injuries that players can play through. They're typically either a stinger or landing on a football. I don't like to put worst case scenarios out there, but when a quarterback takes a violent hit, sometimes you obviously have broken ribs, and that's concern. But I didn't see any violent hits that lead me to assume that. So I'm just keeping the fingers crossed that it's just going to be a bruise there and that we will be good to go. Guapiano in here. What's up, Guapiano? Let's go with the positive energy. Guapiano was coming in to the comment sections of previous videos, leaving positive energy before this game. And I always like to applaud those that, like me, prefer to try and stay positive going in, even if you've lowered your expectations, which I have. I admitted it coming into this week, coming into this game. I had to admit myself that after 4 losses in a row, I had to admit to myself that, yes, I thought the 49ers were a bad football team, but one that was still talented and still capable of turning it around. Nick, I agree with this sentiment. Hufonga seems to be a bit of a ball hawk. Whenever you see him, he does seem to be near the ball, and that is really, really important. Jordan calling out Jordan Chapman, still too many penalties. Fair statement. You do see the mistakes and those drive-stopping penalties, drive-stopping mistakes. We had a false start. We had a hold on Trent Williams. There were certainly a few instances of the drops, a few instances of choppy starts for the offense, leading to putting the defense right back on the field. And that could have been the downfall of the team today. Had the defense not had the heart that they did, if they hadn't managed to put 37 amazing minutes of play on the field today, that could have been the downfall of the 49ers, would have been the inability to keep it rolling on offense, to stay ahead of the chains. It seems to be a continued issue for the 49ers. And I would continue to lay that at the feet of the coaching staff as something they've got to continue to focus on and get right. Sergeant H, USMC coming in. Yeah, let's focus on next week. This game helps build confidence and momentum. On to Arizona, but with a dub. On to Arizona with a dub, and that is the important part. Persist, bro, says Debo, saving this season. Almost one-handed. If not for Elijah Mitchell and the breakout that he is having, you would have to credit Debo as he is the MVP for this offense. Let's be straight about that. Debo absolutely is the MVP to this point. No question about it. Zombieland coming back in. Jimmy has guts, respect, but we need to be honest with ourselves. Though Kyle's play calling is suspect too. Kyle has not been in his bag, and it hasn't felt confident to me. My hope is that in stringing together any type of positivity to close out this game, it brings some confidence back. Brings some confidence back to Kyle, and he can start calling with confidence. Eric calling out the Kyler Murray injury, has a legit sprained ankle. Even if he plays, his mobility will take a hit. You never like to celebrate an injury, but it is fair to wonder if that won't bode well for the San Francisco 49ers. He has that quick twitch, Kyler Murray does. Just sick the way in which he moves. It's twitchy enough that sometimes he twitches and fumbles because he clips the ball on his own thigh pad, as if he didn't expect the quickness of his own legs, and it bumps out. He carries that thing like a loaf of bread out there, and God, I hope we can take it away from a couple of times. I didn't think we were going to win the turnover battle today. It didn't look like it, but sure enough, Norman comes in to put him to sleep. You saw him lay down on the frickin' field, put the game to bed with that interception to take the advantage in the turnover margin. Yes, Kim Adams calls it out. Oh my God, Jimmy didn't turn the ball over today. He had 100 guests in the stands. He couldn't turn the ball over. He had friends and family there. I called it out before the game. It was the friends and family plan for Jimmy. Maybe we need to fly him into more games because I saw heart there. I truly saw heart. Persist, bro, talking about it. Finally, Finally, something to be positive about this week. I'm with you. Let's celebrate this thing. Let's feel good about this. I get wanting to look forward and to point out the cracks in the foundation that may still exist, but, and I acknowledge General Meow here that I know Jimmy G plays good at times, but then disappears with tough games. He's yelling it at us because he feels so passionate about it. I get that, but still, this is positive. Do not get down on this victory. Yeah, it was against the Chicago Bears, but it still counts as a dub in the win column. Zombieland, a.k.a. USA, coming back in. It's not eating crow, folks. We've had years to observe Jimmy G. He's not a number one, and Kyle stinks. Sorry. Oh, a little negative there. A little negative for my taste. I don't know that after this game, that's what jumps out to me. After this game, I think to myself, man, if Kyle can get back to his confident self and establish the run earlier. I didn't like coming out and seeing the early attack, throwing the ball instead of establishing the run. I still think that's Kyle getting ahead of himself and out coaching himself to some extent, because certainly you would think Chicago's defense came out to stop the run. So I do believe that Shanahan is then scheming to beat them with the pass. However, with how fragile this offense is, one drop, getting behind the sticks in any way really hurts him. And really, especially early when you haven't established confidence, I would have liked to have seen Kyle Shanahan focus on getting the run game go earlier than he did. That's about as critical as I'm going to be about the game plan. I'm going to stick with the positivity. Persist, bro, saying the answer is they still need to get Shardall more touches on offense. Most people may be like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? But those, if you know, you know. Juan, I'm with you here. I'd like to see Sermon get some touches. It's a bit confusing to me, the way in which it's so black and white for Kyle. It's like Trey Lance, 0 touches. Trey Sermon, 0 touches. I could understand if it were few touches. Like, we'll get him a couple. I'm not going to screw up the momentum. But just so strange to really say, no, nothing. There's nothing they do well enough to get them on the field. We have an offense that is missing a spark, but they're not the answer. That is a strange statement to me. It just perplexes me a little bit. I'm not getting negative on it. And I still think, again, a lot of season left, but there's so much potential. Why aren't we tapping into it? It's the question I ask. Thomas coming back in. Hey, I've been calling for Jimmy G's job for over a year. After those drops, he could have rolled over and died. You see that pre-halftime dart to Debo that he threw down? Come on. They should have left that a touchdown. They should have left it. But down to the half-yard line, he says 2 things can be true. Want Trey to play and give props to Jimmy G. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas, yes, indeed. That is how I feel. That multiple things can be true at once. And in this case, I find those 2 things to be true. Yes, I would like to get Trey some playing time. And props, mad props. A lot of respect today for the way that Jimmy Garoppolo played on the field in front of the home crowd. Jordan Chapman coming in at me. What can we do about these dumb penalties? It's back to playing confident. It's back to coaching on the fundamentals throughout the week. When players are locked in is typically when you see the lack of penalties. It screams a lack of discipline from the coaching staff to just continually see this. It was less so today, but still an issue, still something. This offense, let's be honest with ourselves, has a tough time overcoming deficits, whether it's a point deficit or a yardage deficit. So if you have a successful first down play, but then have the holding, like the uncharacteristic holding penalties against Trent Williams this year, when you have that holding penalty on first down and now you're set back at 1st and 20, there are very few plays that give me confidence, players that give me confidence beyond Debo. Today, Sanu, with some of his snags, showed me some great things. But beyond Debo, generally, I don't have a lot of confidence that the 49ers can overcome a 1st and 20 start to a drive. So these penalties are critical. If they're not going to be working in the rookie that seems to give us more of a spark, that seems to give us more of a cannon to work it down the field today, Yeah, it's confusing with the penalties. You got to just hope that they continue to drill it home and that a win gives them confidence and they can play with more confidence to start next week against a very potent Arizona team. General Meow with the compliments. The entire team played well today only. I thought that it was a team effort. John Shoop, I think this is the first one coming in from you that I nailed. I was disappointed with the defense, he says, but love the heart the team showed overall. Huge heart today from the 49ers. I really do agree, John. I was disappointed in the defense, I always have a text thread going with my pops and with my brother as well. And my dad was coming into the game relying on the defense. I was too. I predicted 24-16 coming into it. I thought the defense was really going to step up and be able to handle Justin Fields. They did bring him down quite a bit. I called out Chicago as Sack City, USA. And what did we end up with? 5 sacks at the end of the day. Somebody put that in case I am wrong about it. But I believe we ended with 5. At least 4. I think we closed out with 5 on the day. So Sack City, USA was in effect. But to start the game, the defense couldn't get off the field. They really couldn't. They were suspect against the run, and that will be concerning against the Cardinals because of the threat from Kyler Murray, although less so if he does, in fact, have a bad sprain coming in. Chester calling out the mathematics of the playoffs. Here we go. Let's go through this. Chester Gray, not mathematically out of the playoffs, but season just being out of reach the next 2 weeks is important to our season to determine if switch is needed. Let me say that again because I didn't add the pause where it needed to be. Not mathematically out of the playoffs, but season just being out of reach. The next 2 weeks are extremely important to our season to determine if a switch is needed. Yes, after the next 2 weeks, while we may not be mathematically eliminated, even if we lost the next 2 weeks, let's be honest about how the math will play out this year, that would probably not eliminate the 49ers. They would probably only be a game and a half or 2 games out of that final wild card when judging the inconsistency of the other teams competing for it. But if you cannot compete in those 2 games, a mindset shift would have to take place. But let's stay in the positivity today. Adam Power coming back in. Yeah, we were extremely close to losing a terrible football team, to be honest. I'm not impressed with today's performance. So much for getting back to positivity. I should probably read comments before I put them up if I want positivity, but I like honesty. I prefer honesty from you all. I want all your straight thoughts on it, man. I mean, I can't fault this after 4 losses in a row. He finishes out saying the drops to open the game. That leads to points against good teams. Yes, I would agree. This game started out in a way that had we been playing Arizona or LA, probably would have lost this one. It was the fact that we were playing against Chicago that kept us in the game when we made those mistakes early. We still have a lot to correct going into this. Ooh, Jamie Bryant coming in. Bang, bang, Niner gang. What's up? Bang, bang, Niner gang. Yes, indeed. It is a day for celebration, people. We are absolutely going to be positive about a win. I get the concern. I get the people that say pump the brakes. I get the people that say we have a 2-game gauntlet coming up. Jeremy rightly pointing out offense looked good, but the defense, the run defense was pretty bad. Talking about some stats here. Adam coming in, that's terrible for your defense to be on the field for 37 minutes. That's insane. Again, leads to losses. We just got fortunate today. Debo making those plays. Yeah, but you got to do what you got to do to win at some point. Yes, the 49ers gave up 176 rushing yards. That is concerning. But look at how special Justin Fields was today. You do have to give special players their credit when they do special things. It is not always about what your team has done to stop another individual. Sometimes it's about how special that individual is and what play they make on the field. That stop reverse directions by Justin Fields? Are you kidding me with that play? Unbelievable. It's the type of play that makes you say, man, I see exactly what all those dudes who were saying draft Fields were calling for because it's special. That was absolutely a special athlete on the field. And if you can work that into your offense, man, you know that is a recipe for success. That is a recipe for success. All right, Guapiano, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. That was terrible. I apologize for that in advance. I did not catch that on tune, nor did I nail that at all. But Phil Collins has such a set of pipes on him, I couldn't help but mess that up, man. I just can't. I can't perform like Phil Collins. I don't have it in the air tonight. But the Niners did. The Niners did, and that's what's important. Jordan Chapman correctly pointing out, first half was rough. First half left me skeptical we would be able to pull this out. General Meow still wants to see a replacement at head coach, pumping me for the job. I appreciate it. You know, I'm pretty happy with my role here on YouTube, supporting the 49ers from afar. But if Jed called, I'll be honest, I would pick up the phone. I'd accept the call and gladly come in to coach the 49ers. I don't think you'd like the product on the field at that point if we did that. Adam Power correctly calling out Hufonga seemed to play pretty well. I thought so too. Early was around the ball a lot, and I actually thought Wilson helped create the Norman interception, actually. Yeah, Wilson took a good angle, no PI, played the ball well. Had a hand on the receiver, did not turn him, did not alter the course. Felt like solid defense there by Wilson. Absolutely. And Hufonga appeared to be around the ball a lot. Jamie Bryant correctly calling out 2 stars of the show today, Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel. Cannot say enough about Deebo Samuel and his performance. Anytime you set a record above and beyond, Jerry frickin' Rice, most yards to start the season in 7 games. Whoa. Ooh, Zombieland calling out that Grant Cohn saying trade Deebo while he is high. I just cannot get behind that. You can't, when you have stars like that, he's special to me. I don't see the end game of trading it away. Let's be honest that this organization has been somewhat questionable in their first round draft picks to this point. I am not abandoning Kinlaw with the knee injury. I still am in the wait and see mode, but I understand fans' objections with that pick, in particular when you look at giving up Buckner to get it. That was the unacceptable part for me. But you have to wonder what the 49ers have done with first round draft picks, whether you really want to trade away a bona fide stud. Just not what I'm looking to do there. Tobin asking, Jimmy Ward gone. I don't know, but he did go out of the game, and that is concerning because now you're missing your top 2 starting safeties, getting into the depth there. I don't know how we'll replace it. I don't know if he just tweaked a hamstring. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed because even though Jimmy has been unable to get the ball. And again, on the punch out, man, that was recovered by the Bears. You saw Jimmy Ward was in the picture on the screen. Ball was punched out, but Jimmy had started to turn away from the action. The tackle's still happening there, Jimmy. This is me nitpicking. I get this. I'm not really calling him out, but special players make the play around the ball. And it takes that situational awareness of when the ball is coming out. So when the defender has yet to take the receiver to the ground, you've got to have your eyes on the ball. You don't know if that ball is popping out. Jimmy Ward was the closest man to the football, but because he started to turn, he had to turn his hips back, and the Bears offensive guy had the angle, dived on it, and we couldn't take advantage of that fumble. That could have been a big play. Thankfully, it didn't end up being that way. All right. Adam here with an interesting comment, I think. Deebo was disappointing to me, y'all. All over the guy because he breaks open a screen. Hell, Ayuk probably does the same. Well blocked. More concerning to me is Deebo's drops. That shit is killer on drives. Adam, I do agree that is concerning about the drops, but I don't think I can say disappointing. That seems like an exaggeration to me. I mean, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled despite the drops. Like, I called it out. I'd love to see, I'm not kidding, I'd love to see Debo work with Jerry Rice and get in his ear and say, Jerry, how did you go from a guy who struggled a little bit with drops early in his career, go back and look at the statistics, go back and read the articles, to turn into the most prolific wide receiver in the entire National Football League? Throughout the history of the game, he is the greatest of all time. And he's right there in your backyard. Pick his pocket, man. Pick his brain. Make sure that you get everything he has to offer. Yes, Jimmy absolutely earned it. Had some guts. Zombieland calling it out. Earned negativity, but definitely got some guts running 2 in. Jamie appropriately pointing out, yes, in fact, he had family there and he wanted to play that mistake-free football. Well, it worked. Whatever we need to do we need to pony up, create a GoFundMe and fly out Jimmy's friends and family to all of the remaining games? Let's get them out to Levi's. Let's do this. Let's do this. Hey, I'm with you, Jamie. A win is a freaking win at this point. Chester, agree, James. Take it where I can get them. Baby, it was 4 weeks of losing. Winning feels great, baby. I mean, it almost feels like, it doesn't feel like a playoff victory. I'm kidding. That's hyperbole. But it feels great. Come on. I couldn't have taken a 5th straight loss, 6 straight losing weeks of negativity. I couldn't take it. I needed this. Much like I needed that drink of water, I needed this win, 49er faithful. How about you? Did it feel good? Was it a relief? Yes. Was I skeptical coming into this? Absolutely. The first half had me feeling like, oh no, here we go again. Did you have that sense that the offense just wasn't able to frickin' deliver to start? But they came through. Persist brings up a reasonable question that should still be sitting with us at this point. And this I was attempting to drive home earlier. Persist Bro says, I still don't understand why the Niners aren't playing or developing any of their rounds, their early round picks, rounds 1 through 3. Trey Lance, 0 snaps. Aaron Banks, I didn't check, but I believe inactive for the game. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. 0 snaps, probably not dressed because Trent Williams was back. Trey Sermon, I believe 0 snaps, certainly 0 carries. It's frustrating. I'm with you on this follow-up to it. Why draft players that high if you aren't going to play them? Now, the obvious answer to that is that you draft them thinking you have a particular product. You believe you have a certain skill set. You believe that you're going to be able to maximize that skill set, put them into your offense and be successful. And then in practice, you're unable to generate what you saw when you drafted them. So it could be a failure to properly evaluate the player. And then when you get them in the building, realizing that you don't have what you thought you had. So to me, it has to be monitored because it's a signal of something else. It's a signal of failure to draft the correct person to begin with, failure to evaluate talent, or failure to develop talent, or failure to trust talent. There's a root issue, and this is merely the symptom of it. It is merely the symptom of some bigger problem. And if this is not going to just be a flash in the pan, one win, and then back to losing ways, the 49ers have to address whatever that core issue is. This team is not, in my opinion, good enough to rip off big wins in the next couple of weeks without getting greater contributions from players that have yet to step up to this point. It doesn't need to be the rookies. I could see that play coming from continued excelling at run blocking. If everyone is just gangbusters, the line continues to decimate, you get the second level blocks from Juice, Warner, Kittle returning. You could see enough lift from that. If Brandon Ayuk continued to take steps forward, that might be the positive progress that you need. But you have other options. You have these rookies that you'd like to see getting experience because this season could go the other direction and you'll need them to be more talented for next year. It's frustrating to me. It's something to keep an eye on. Getting back into, yes, Chester, I'm with you. We getting the run blocked finally. The run blocking, as far as I don't take notes when I go through the game the first time. I watch as a fan, hopefully like you do, because I want to enjoy it. I want to be present in the moment. I want to just revel in the 49ers victory or take the pain of the loss squarely on the chest. I take it, a hit to the chin, a punch in the face from Mike Tyson if I need be, because I want to be able to express my emotions in the moment. I'm a loud dude when it comes to 49ers games, man. I certainly alarm the neighbors and people walking by the house with my screams, both of joy and of frustration at times, absolutely. Zombieland pointing out that, yeah, there was a holding call on Williams, but Bosa's being held all day. Doesn't it seem like Bosa is held all day, every day? It really feels a bit inconsistent at this point. I know I'm biased there. I know I'm biased that I see those for Bosa, but it's crazy. Chester seeing it too. Agree Bosa was being held a lot. No calls. Seems to be a regular occurrence. Benjamin Roberts coming in, but no PIs, baby. That's what's been killing us. Yes, the one defensive holding call, forgivable with the fact that there were no DPIs, because, man, 250 yards of DPIs to add on to that by any substantial margin would have been real painful. Real painful indeed. I love the comments still flowing in. I love the positivity. I love the fact that you guys are here celebrating the win with me. So excited that we finally get to do a post-game show because I needed to feel good. Honestly, those last losses felt in such a way that I didn't have it in me to step on. I needed a day to process and I almost feel bad for that. I feel like I should have spent that time commiserating with fellow fans, and I'm going to make that effort. This post-game thing is so good, so fun. And we're going to make that effort to make it a legit every game thing, regardless, win, lose, or draw. Because we got to be here, support one another, talk it out, hash out what's going on, and make sure that everybody... Guapiano, I almost put your next comment up, and thankfully I read that freaking thing, because you almost dropped an F-bomb on the air on the channel, and that's a good thing that I saw that and didn't go in. But I love the enthusiasm. I can't fault you for it. Skip right past that. Yes, indeed. Oh, Nick calling out that it was 4 sacks to end the game there. I thought it was the last one that I thought I had heard the announcer say 4 and then saw the last one, but it was in fact 4 to end the game. I couldn't find that in the stats as I was trying to go through them as well. Yes, a new one in here is that Madeira XC coming in. Hufonga was balling out today. He did look solid, and he's going to need to look solid again, especially if Jimmy Ward is dinged up for next week. I don't know how serious that injury was. I think that I read something about a hamstring as I was getting ready to go on the air. I'll be interested to hear if there's any news coming out, if you guys are watching the presser or if you're following on Twitter, if you know what happened to Jimmy Ward, if there's been any information, put it in the chat because I'd like to know where we're at with Jimmy. That's big coming in. You don't want to see both starting safeties down. Absolutely. All right, Chester saying, I don't think Trey needs to come in while Jimmy's starting. I think Trey needs to start later in the season to get him ready for next season. So Chester taking the other approach from mine. Mine is get him snaps. Chester, the more traditional approach of those snaps can take away from your offensive rhythm. That's my interpretation of how you're going here with Chester. With it, Chester, is the idea that you can take the offense off rhythm, and that's fair. I think for me, this offense takes itself off rhythm enough that I'd like to see if putting the rookie in creates a spark that can carry us more than it has a tendency to take us off the off schedule. All right, rolling through the comments. Adam, yep, Bosa getting held so much with no calls, in my opinion. Bosa is the best player on our team. He changes the QB drop point constantly. Beast. Game-changing type of player. He is special, man. Really is special. Official BNA music coming in. If they had Mack, we'd lose. Interesting take. Khalil Mack was out. That could have been the distance. The distance could have been the difference. It's certainly, Khalil Mack, hell of a player. By far their best defender. But in the NFL, you got to win the games that you're supposed to win. They don't have to be pretty, but they go up in the win column just the same. It counts this. The Arizona Cardinals remained undefeated until recently, even though it was because of the Minnesota Vikings missing a kick that most kickers make 84% of the time. But they missed it. So the Arizona Cardinals get the win. It doesn't matter if it's pretty in my book. A win is a win. Jamie staying positive, thinking, just wait until all our players are healthy again. Fingers crossed, baby. Melvin Norman, 2 forced fumble, 1 interception. Yeah, he sucks. I think there's a little sarcasm. Yeah, he sucks. You do have to balance that with the defensive pass interference penalties. No question. He was guilty of a lot of those. Some of them were smart defending plays, right? It was, I believe, his first game, the Philly game, where he had the hold in the end zone that put it 1st and goal on the 1, and then the defense held them out of the end zone. That was, in fact, a good penalty, but the other ones really haven't been, and therefore I do wonder if it balances out. I love his takeaway ability, though. We need the inspiration. More players on the defense have to draw inspiration from Norman's ability to punch it out. His focus is on it. Watch him coming in to make the tackles, and he's still a reasonably sure tackler as well, but he is constantly going for the peanut punch. I'm seeing it more now from Fred Warner, too. I think he's picking that up from Josh Norman. Moderax coming back in. Let me know if I'm pronouncing that poorly. If ever you come into the chat and I mispronounce your name, first, I apologize for it. My name is Rob Shu. Believe me, I have had my fair share of mispronunciations in my day. I grew up in an area where people used to call you during dinner on your home phone line and interrupt telemarketers, right? We didn't have spam blocking iPhones at the time. I heard them all. Skahoo, Ska. Yeah, Mr. Ska. That's a likely last name. So if I mispronounce your last name in the chat, I apologize in advance. Please correct me. And if I see it, I will work on it and try to remember it going forward. You have my word on that it's unintentional if I ever do. All right, but he calls out. I haven't read his comment. Come on, get to it, Rob, they say. Outside of Debo's 80-yard catch, which was all Debo. Yes, it was. It was 3 yards in the backfield where he caught it, right? Jimmy played like absolutely crap the first half. I don't know if I can go to that stretch. Let me finish reading it. I'm glad Jimmy picked up the slack second half. That I agree. He definitely picked it up in the second half. Second half Jimmy was far better than first half Jimmy. I still saw heart in the first half. I still saw the effort. I saw him being careful with the ball. None of his errant throws or turnovers. Still some high balls in the middle of the field that have a high percentage of being tipped or, dropped and tipped and then get picked off. Those are concerning because our receivers just to this point haven't expressed the ability to catch on a consistent basis. We have a lot of those tips that when they go high lead to interceptions, but he was close to 50% passing early on in the second half. There was some time where he was hovering around 53%. There were 2 drops and it was a smaller sample size, but even if you factored in the 2 drops into receptions, I don't think it would have taken him up to 60% completion. So I agree. He started slowly. I just don't think I can say I know I can't say absolute crap because I didn't feel that way. Adam Power, just give Jimmy's friends and family season tickets Super Bowl bound. It may be the answer to all of our problems, right? Just get 100 of Jimmy's friends and family into every game and watch him play well and inspired football. Simonson 76 supporting the idea of Rob for a new head coach. I would appreciate the pay bump. I would be appreciative of that. And I'm with you right here. We touched on that earlier. There was floated out, I'm guessing on Twitter, capitalize on Debo's momentum, trade him now, get the maximum value back. I'm not on board with that. I'm not on board with that is all. I'm scrolling back through. George, thank you for calling this out. I'm guessing this is in regard to Jimmy Ward. I think this is in answer to me saying, hey, any update, throw it in the chat. Quad injury. So you wonder, quad pulls are generally muscle pulls, but a muscle pull, I'm not a medical doctor, but have followed football and basketball and sports long enough to have read enough breakdowns of injuries, but you're talking about some level of tear in the muscle. And so there are wide variances of how long you could be out. You could have a quad contusion, which would just be a bruise, right? A Charlie horse, something to that effect, something that prevents you from really pushing off with that leg. But it could also be something in the neighborhood of a tear. And then it's to the degree of it, could be out a couple of weeks, could be, 6 to 8 weeks if it's major. So this is something to keep an eye on. We're already down Jaquiski Tart, and I believe, top of my head, right, we put him on IR, whether that's short-term or not, I'm unaware at this point. But now you're down one starting safety going into these next two games. That's big to monitor right now. All right, I see something coming in at me, so I'm going to it. Nick from across the pond, loving it from London. Hopefully with George back next week, the run game will pick up even more. Good call out. Nick points out, rightly so, that Kittle is a phenomenal run blocker, at least historically. Now, I've heard people questioning how efficient he has been this season. It's fair to ask. He's been dinged up, played through a little bit of that. You wonder if that has impacted him. I still do think that he is way above anything else we're putting out as a blocking tight end, so it has to help. He is elite in there, and if he's returned to health, if he's back to 100%, then he is elite. I don't think you can argue that. I don't think anyone, even those that say trade Kittle, which to me, again, it's crazy to trade these key players. That's what you do in Madden. That's not what you do in the NFL, in my humble opinion, my 2 cents about it. Zapped coming in saying, what's up? It's been a while. How you doing, Zapped 916? How are things in Sacramento? I mean, that's the 916. I'm figuring you're up there, but I still got the 714 on my area code, and I live in Portland, so maybe not. Sorry for skipping over any, but I wanted to try and get a little current. We're still about 10 minutes behind in the comments, but I think we're staying current with what you guys want to talk about in celebrating this 49ers victory and feeling good on a Sunday afternoon. Feeling so good that I just got to keep going. I got to just keep reveling in this positivity. Because 5 weeks of losing with the bye worked in there for extra suffering. Tell me it wasn't painful, 49ers fans. Tell me you didn't feel that in the pit of your stomach, thinking to yourself, we came into this season thinking we were relevant, thinking that we were going to be in the... I came in thinking that, expecting that. It was painful to stomach. It was painful to stomach that losing streak. And man, this is refreshing, like a sip of nice, cool water. Refreshing. That's how that game felt today. That little sigh of relief. Jaguayo coming in here, Jaguayo 56. We just have to stay committed to the running game. No turnovers, and play every game like it's a playoff game. I think we can be fighting for the last playoff spot. Let's be realistic that mathematically speaking, whether you want to say it's a realistic shot at the playoffs or not, but mathematically speaking, you are absolutely in the playoff hunt as the San Francisco 49ers. There's just no debating that, right? I have to look at the actual standing, but I believe at most the 49ers are one game out of it. I believe, if my math serves me, that we'll probably be more like a half game out of it or missing a tiebreaker from it right now. I'm not sure how everything is played out. I've been on this live since the 49ers got that W. But 3-4 gives you life heading back into the freaking meat of the schedule. Ben V, just want to throw up Ben to make sure that I get to people that I hadn't before. If I hadn't been, Ben talking about Jimmy got hit after the slide, no personal foul. I also saw one on Justin Fields that had me nervous where he got tackled after he had released the ball, full second. Toward the end, I think it was on the interception. I believe that was the play that I'm thinking of on the Josh Norman interception to end the game. I thought they could have called a ticky-tack roughing the passer penalty, and I am glad that they didn't because that led to the end of the game. Zombieland, completely agree here. Look at this. Kittle is not only a great player, great blocker, but his positivity is unmatched, and we need that. We need the leaders on the field. I think I'm seeing positive things from, I'm going to give a nod to our head coach. Over the last week, the way in which he has approached pressers, the way in which he has answered questions, the attitude that he's giving, the humility that I'm seeing in the pressers, I have to call out that, I have to compliment that when I see it, because I was very critical of not seeing it. So that transition for me, I've got to recognize it. I have to give kudos to Coach Shanahan for seeming to take more of the responsibility, more of the brunt of why we're not performing. Well, it's on me. I'm the head coach and I need to do better, instead of pointing out the areas and throwing players or situations under the bus. So I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing some stepping up from other players. Sanu, again, I thought, just a veteran player. He had a look about him when he made some catches today. Just a grown man look about him. And that's leadership. That's palpable, tangible, visible leadership. You can feel it coming through the screen. It doesn't take much. And again, leaders are formed. They're not always God-given. Sometimes you're put in a circumstance where you're in a group of people and there's a vacancy of leadership and you have the opportunity to step up. Life presents you with that opportunity. Someone's got to grab the bull by the horns. Absolutely. Zapped coming in. Happy Halloween. Love the shout out to all the kiddos, to anybody, to the dads and moms. Man, get out there. Get out in some fresh air. Knock on some doors. Get some candy. Get yourself some full-size candy bars. Hopefully people are being overly generous with what they're giving out. You know you're looking for those houses on the block with the full-size Snickers, the full-size Reese's Pieces, the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Those are the ones that you don't ever egg as a child. Unfortunately, if you darken the shades and watch movies and don't answer the door, that's a recipe for disaster. So be cautious, people. Be cautious. Happy Halloween in all seriousness to everybody. All right, I'm going to try for this name here. M. Ramalho. M. Ramalho. That's what I'm going with there. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Any word on why they are not using Trey Sermon? He looked good on the last game he started. Yes. I need to look at the stats for overall performance, but I believe he's performing above the league average, which usually hovers around 4.4 yards per carry. If anybody's looking at his stats right now and you want to plug it into the chat of what his average per carry is to this point in the season, I agree. It leaves me perplexed as to why 0 carries. I get giving the ball to the hot hand. I really, truly understand that. But the lack of use, the total lack of use is the confusing part for me. That's where there's just got to be more that we're not seeing at this point. Leo wanting to capitalize on the positivity for Jimmy and get him out of the building. I think this victory, with only 1 week left before the trade this was the last game before the trade deadline. Trade deadline is the 2nd of November. So this being the last game before the trade deadline, anybody who's hoping to see Jimmy G traded at this point, I do think that you will have to accept that that's probably not happening. Barring some type, and there is, people do call for it. Paul Perryman supports that idea. Capitalize on this positive momentum and take it forward. But you're probably not going to see that. Barring some real good offer from another team and barring an injury in some game today, I just don't know that I see a desperate team. I mean, in the chat, throw it in there. If you can predict a team that's willing to give up any type of significant asset for Jimmy that would convince this front office to trade him, because be real that when you trade him, yes, you get the money off the books, but I'm going to guess you have to eat most of that as the 49ers when you trade him. Even the remaining portion that you haven't already paid him, you're probably going to have to eat most of that salary. You're probably not getting much back as far as draft capital. I know some of you are still saying, I don't care, still trade him. But then you're moving forward with a situation where your quarterback room is Nate Sudfeld and the rookie. So yeah, you hope for great things from Trey, but if he gets dinged up, you're down to Nate Sudfeld. And so I get the conservative approach there. Again, I believe the failure of this organization was much earlier in the offseason when they committed to this strategy to begin with. when they said they were still contending for a Super Bowl with Jimmy as a starter, even though they knew it was likely he would get injured this season. That was the failure in logic in my mind. And so everything beyond that is almost an expected outcome of having been failed in your initial logic. That failure of the initial logic was everything went downhill from there. LL Mel, I hadn't seen that before, coming in, got the W, but I'm still worried that Jimmy G cannot hit every spot on the field. They're all short throws or down the middle from his launch point. Yeah, his average today got a big boost from a little bit of a run from Deebo Samuel, but that pass was caught 3-4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Get that yard pronunciation in there. Yes, we like to say that the yards have been earned today. Indeed. Zap coming in. Is this a compliment? I always like compliments. Rob is better than other streaming 49ers streamers. I will take that. I will absolutely accept affection from anyone that feels that way. And if you don't, I respect that as well. There are a lot of fantastic people out there streaming 49ers content. And if you do not like mine, that is okay. I accept that I am not everybody's cup of tea. Sometimes I'm too positive. Sometimes I get emotional. Sometimes I get down. I like to keep it real. I try to be transparent to you. I hope that those of you who enjoy what I do appreciate it for the fact that it's genuine. Appreciate it for the fact that when I seem like I'm trying to pump you up, it's because I'm trying to pump myself up. Those last couple of shows before this game, I was trying to pump me up. I hope it worked for you too, but I needed it. I needed to feel that positivity. I needed some hope going into it. I needed to lower the expectations, but raise the hope. I did, and the 49ers came through in the clutch. Jose Manuel coming in here. Greets from Austria, Europe. What's up, Jose? Good to see you from Austria. This victory could be the turning point, ladies and gentlemen. Kyler Murray dealing with ankle injury? Hey, there's hope. 49er faithful, there is hope, and that's something to cling to. Don't get your expectations up. Don't get yourself to a point where you're going to be dashed against the rocks. But man, a little optimism, a little bit of feeling good. Man, feel good tonight. You know this team, before they look at the film, before they say to themselves, well, there's some things that we still got to patch up. They're going to enjoy this victory. They're going to enjoy that long flight home back to SFO because they got a W. They got a W, and I am sure they are riding high on that. All right, here we go. I think a fresh one from Mocha Frost coming at me. I'm happy that Jimmy played well today and that the whole team earned a W. But that incredible play by Fields had me thinking about the magic we could see from Trey in the future. I agree. When you saw that move by Fields, can we just take a moment to just give credit where credit is freaking due? When he put on the brakes and reversed Field, it highlighted for me that, yeah, 100%, this is a game of inches. Armstead came within inches of making that tackle. But credit where credit is due to the fact that Justin Fields lit that up. That was a highlight reel and not a mistake by the defense. Flanagan fouls, if you look at the replay, I think I'm correct in saying he lost the over pursuit. He was the one player, not one. He was the most out of position in coming from the other side, not trusting the guys in front of him to fill their lanes. And that's critical in defense against a player like Justin Fields. But I'm not taking anything away from Fields and just how special that play was and how much it highlights his wheels. I don't know that that's the type of wheels Trey has. I do think he's a bit more Dante Culpepper, a larger individual with more power and less speed and elusiveness, but still highly elusive and still fast. So I think we see similar skill sets and agree with you that it just gets you excited for the future. What could we see drawn up? What were those plays that Kyle Shanahan was drawing up for Trey Lance on the way back from Justin Fields' pro day? Because we know it's not what we saw against Arizona the last time. At least we all hope it. General Meow with the AJ Green shot. The Packers beat the Cards with AJ Green screw up. 100%. Cardinals, as much as they should have lost to Minnesota on that last second field goal, they should have won with even just a AJ Green turns around and bats the ball down, plays a defender on that one. That was a head-scratching, no effort by AJ Green. A little embarrassing. The best thing I saw on Twitter was, and I don't like taking shots at players, but AJ Green's an established vet, and it's funny, so I'm not going to ride him on it, but someone put up the controller disconnected underneath AJ Green, because it just looked like that. In Madden, when your controller loses connection with the frickin' system and the player just stops in the middle of a play, is really what it looked like there. That's the last shot I'll take at AJ Green, because I'm sure he's hearing it from all sides, and I do not envy the position he's in, because he cost them an undefeated season to this point, right? Paul Perryman calling out 6 tackles by Norman. I was saying that earlier. Very, very sure tackler while attempting to punch the ball out. And that's no small feat, because typically when you come in with the peanut punch on one side, you can fail to wrap up. And that's a recipe for disaster in allowing the broken tackles. Towards the end of games, you often see that, where players are going for the ball so hard that they fail to make the tackle. Paul pointing out here, Norman not only able to take the ball away, not only focused on the peanut punch, got another one today, even though we didn't recover it, but able to make the tackle. Zombieland correctly pointing out that, yes, while Mac was out, no excuse for Chicago, because we're down Kittle. Injuries are a part of this game. Chester was jumping up and down during the Debo run. I yelled my ass off. My wife came running in from the other room thinking somebody had died. Indeed. Matt Barrows reporting quad injury. Yes, indeed, Nick. You can take that as a serious reporting. Anything coming from Matt Barrows. I think probably my favorite beat writer, Matt Barrows. Just the funniest one out there, the best writer. I don't get the Chronicle because I subscribe to The Athletic, and so that's the one I pay for, but I should, because I think Eric Branch has a good tone to him too. I'm curious who you guys love as far as the best beat writers out there. Obviously love Grant Cohn. I kind of see him as a different type of personality than your more traditional beat writer. So maybe I don't put him into the same grouping. Leo coming in run game, and Debo made Jimmy look good. Oh, calling for the trade again. General Meow doesn't want to see Norman try that tackling technique on Henry. But let's be fair that Derrick Henry, the king, rightfully so, Derrick Henry is one of the greatest, right? I mean, everybody struggles to tackle that dude. That is a hard man to bring down. No question about it. Matt Shug coming in with the SCH last name. You know this. The SCH Brotherhood struggle is real. Americans do not like the SCH. Go to other countries, Dutch countries, German countries. It's all about the SCH. Here, people, not so much. Yes, Jose. In fact, shoe means shoe in German. Go over to Germany. No one has any problem with the pronunciation, because it would be like SHOE here. Indeed. All right, David. Here's a challenge from David Ornelas coming in. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I am sorry. Grade Eli Mitchell's performance. I'm going to go over to the stats because I believe he averaged 7 point something a carry coming in. All right. So Elijah Mitchell, 18 carries, 137 yards, and a touchdown. The confusing part is the complete inability to put Elijah Mitchell in on third down, the refusal to play him there. I would get putting in Hasty for the vast majority, because he is a better pass blocker, understands the pass blocking concepts. But man, it seems a shame to take Elijah Mitchell off of the field at any point because of just how dominant his statistics have been. All right, let's get into, 7.6 yards per carry. I don't know how you give him anything other than an A at that point. I think it's got to be a solid A performance from the rookie. There was the one cut where, again, I see him take that inside cut instead of bouncing it outside. This time it was cutting it to the left, heading towards the center of the field, instead of bouncing it towards his right, towards the outside. That had previously happened on a play that was highlighted on Twitter. I'm sure a lot of 49er fans have seen where it appeared he could have bounced it outside to the left towards the boundary and took it inside as well. So I do think he has the ability to correct that And then if he does, that will be a real boon for him. All right, I'm falling behind in the comments. Got to try and get into this. Is this are the Saints struggling right now? I'm not staying current. I'm counting on you all to update me. I'm telling you, a lot of inconsistent teams out there. That is exactly what is ahead of us in front of the playoffs. Yeah, Adam talking about the early guys here. I'm sure they're developing the early round guys, but if Mitchell's outplaying Sermon, for example, which he is, then you play the best player. Same with Banks Brunskill. Agree wholeheartedly, Adam. And if I suggest otherwise when I get into the excitement about developing the young players, I apologize. It's not my intention. You play the better player. And I think with the case of a running back, you spell your running backs typically. You get carries to other guys with fresh legs. And on the field with what we've seen, Sermon has had success. And so that's the confusing part. Agree if in practice it's clear Mitchell's the better player, you play the better player. Leo correctly pointing out that maybe Tony Jefferson's going to step in and fill in for Ward, get that savvy veteran, nice, keep it such that it is calm and collected in the backfield because you've got a lot of weapons for Arizona. Remember that even with Max Williams going down, they traded for Zach Ertz. They have 5 or 6 really solid passing options with Chase Edmonds coming out of the backfield. They had, when we first played them, 6 players with a minimum of 15 catches at that point in the season, right? They are a very productive offense, so you need a veteran presence. That could be a good call there. Matt Shug coming back in. If you watch the 2-yard touchdown replay, you really can see Brandon Ayuk just joylessly walking off the field. Something's up with him. I did rewatch that because someone called that out on Twitter. I saw it, and I get what you're saying there. But I did see him point for the touchdown. It just wasn't much of a celebration. I don't know that to me it's a certainty that was body language indicative of someone with an issue. But I get what you're saying there, and I think it's worth monitoring. No problem. 2019, a strong draft, Chester says. Got Bosa, Debo, yes, indeed. Zombieland, I like Mitchell a lot. Sorry for yelling. It's okay. When you're talking about Elijah Mitchell, when you're celebrating this victory as you are, like it a lot. Like it as much as you want. I love liking it. That's all good. LL Mel coming in. What's up, LL Mel? I don't see how the Niners will be able to keep their major names on the team. Bosa and Debo extensions are coming up soon. They are, and they could both be very, very expensive. I really wonder with this one, is Nick Bosa going to take us to the cleaners? I get a sense he is a savvy business individual, or at least willing to sit out, willing to draw a hard line in the sand. And Joey Bosa, his brother, certainly got paid heavily, so he's going to be expecting to exceed that and has warranted that, has played to a level where he deserves a massive contract he's going to get. I do just wonder if he's sort of a cold-hearted mercenary and that it really is about the money. You'd like to see somebody who's willing to take a more of a team-friendly deal. I don't think either one of those players are. And good for them. Get your money. Get your money when you can. Honestly. Everett Kramer coming in. Love hearing the happiness in your tone today. I am feeling happy today, my friend. Feeling happy. Congrats on finally a truly watchable game from end to end. Long live the left shoe. Thank you, Everett. That was a great game, a real positive feeling. I'm smiling and it's genuine. It's not forced. Not forced at all. Richard coming in. Richard David pointing out, I've been accused of being negative. I know. I don't get it. But hey, people are entitled to their opinion. I respect that. You're entitled to your opinion here in the chat. You're welcome to come in here and criticize me. It is a free country. I believe in free speech. As long as you don't personally insult me, I won't take it personally. As long as you don't drop F-bombs, I'll even put your criticism up on the screen. I may not celebrate it, but I'll acknowledge it. I absolutely will. Chester calling out that he thinks Mitchell's our guy going forward. Let me point out that on top of that, I'm real excited to have Jeff Wilson coming back to really complement. Now maybe you will see two complementary backs with someone that Kyle Shanahan has trusted historically. Maybe then you will be able to spell Elijah, get an impressive number of carries from both backs combined, and really get that run game going. Absolutely. Zapped talking about off subject, who's a free agent next year that would help the Niners fill their roster. By the way, you are living in Sac, as I correctly predicted there with the 916. I don't know. I haven't started getting into who's going to be available for next year. What I do know is we only have something like 32 players under contract for next. It is a very low number of players under contract. A lot of one-year deals that the 49ers had. That it's going to be interesting. There are going to be a lot of free agents that are going to need to be coming in because the 49ers don't have a huge number of draft picks either. Zombieland just calling out Mitchell, number one. Mitchell, number one. All right, I'm going to try to catch up. I won't intentionally skip any great comments. I'll try to keep the good ones that keep the dialogue going coming in and try to skip past those that are more of a conversation in the chat, which I highly, highly recommend. I do love when people put in the @Rob or @RobShoe because then I know you're talking to me. Nick coming in talking about we're half game back and the Vikings still need to play Dallas later. That's what I'm talking about. I get that this was the Bears. Okay, so we're pumping the brakes on the excitement and the playoffs and all of that, but we're living in the W. We're celebrating the dub. It's a dub. It is a win in the win column. Cheers to the San Francisco 49ers for taking on the Bears and winning and keeping us apace, right? That's just how close it is. That points out that this next two-game gauntlet, yeah, it's going to be hard as hell, no question. And it's not encouraging that, yes, Jimmy Ward's dealing with a quad injury as has been reported multiple times here. Pointed out that Matt Barrows has tweeted it. But the positivity remains of the win herald coming in. Go Niners, baby. Yes, indeed. Go Niners. Go Niners all day. All day, every day. I'm still scrolling, trying to get to some good comments here because I'm loving the positivity. I'm loving the fact that you guys are here in the chat, living it up. I am trying to get to the current. Let's see, where we at with that comment? I got to skip a few because it's not even letting me get out there. But Harold back in. Shout out to all the 49ers fans worldwide. Yes. Yes. Indeed. I'm not sure if this comes in, but it's a new commenter, so I'm bringing you in. No Lance next week. IG then? Instagram then? Maybe? I think Lance, we see snaps. Maybe what you're implying here is because of the success for Jimmy that we probably don't see a lot of Lance next week. I hope that's not the case. I hope that we get I hope we get a couple of snaps from him. A random one here, Roll Tide coming in the comments. I got no college football team in the fight, so I'm not getting behind it, but I'll give him some airtime. Wishing Coach Saban a happy birthday because Roll Tide believes he is the GOAT and deserves some recognition. Indeed, indeed. Scrolling back up. Man, there are a lot of comments in here. People are fired up. Fired up. Talking about spot on with some chemistry. Gizmo coming in. Gizmo coming at me. The defense was terrible today. Should we be worried? The defense started the game rough. The game started poorly for the defense. I really thought they picked it up and showed a lot of heart down the stretch. So I'm choosing to focus more on the way in which they finished the game and less on how they started it because my hope is that it was a late start and therefore that is part of the reason that you saw a sluggish beginning. Let's see. Interrupts talking about the Saints just lost Winston. A shame to hear. I never celebrate an injury to anybody, even if I dislike them as their personality style. Sorry to hear that, but it does change the way in which the Saints are able to compete, right? Kajukin talking about I'm cool with a third for Jimmy. I do think if you had a team willing to take a reasonable percentage of the salary, I still don't think the Niners would seriously consider it because you'd be down to, like I said, the quarterback room would then be down to Nate Sudfeld and the rookie. You lost out on the opportunity to trade Jimmy early on when you didn't bring in a proper bridge quarterback. That's my stance on it, and I've got to stick with it to now. I think it would take more than that, a really wow offer for the 49ers to part with this strategy. And again, it was a bad strategy, but it was a bad strategy back when they formulated it, logically speaking, in the offseason. I think what you're seeing now is just that bad strategy coming to fruition. Melvin talking at me. Mitchell looked like Mostert out there today. Yes. Minus the top end speed, I agree. He was freaking great. When Kyle has a running back ripping off long runs, he wins. I mean, you could argue that a lot of head coaches do win when they have that, but agree how essential the run game is to this 49ers offense, that they need the explosive plays. They're tending not to get it in the passing game, so they need it to come from the run game, and they need the run to complement the pass. No question about it. Oh man, trying to get back to these comments, but there's a lot of them and I appreciate it. If I miss them, it's only because right now YouTube isn't letting me scroll all the way back up. Alan coming in from UK. You know I got to throw that up on the screen. Happy All Hallows Eve from the UK, Rob. What has happened to our defense? I tell you, it started rough, but I remain optimistic. Still accumulated 4 sacks toward the end of the game. Played well, even though having been on the field for 37 minutes towards the end of the game. They were gassed. I mean, not as gassed as I'll be at the end of a 3-hour live stream. I'm kidding. I could go all day. I love this. I freaking love this. I'll run out of water at some point, and then I'll start to foam at the mouth with cotton mouth. But other than that, I could just go for days. So, yeah, I thought that was impressive, the heart that I saw. Agree, concerned early, not getting the pressure, had a couple of defensive ends out, right? D4 did not play. Ebukam just coming back, but you saw the sack from him. I am optimistic with the way the game finished. True test, comes next week against that damn. I don't care if Kyler Murray is dinged up a little bit. That's still a freaking powerful offense there. Raul 95 coming in. We need Jimmy to just not turn the ball over. That's a very astute statement. I agree. Passionately, really passionately, I agree. Glad he didn't throw the ball backwards again. Yeah, for sure. I'm giving him credit where credit's due. I thought he played well. I thought he played smart. There were a couple of higher passes that, had they been tipped, probably would have gone back to the safeties and been picked off. And that's something you see continually. But none of the bonehead throws, and I'm giving credit on that. Absolutely. Javon also giving credit where credit is due. Not anything away from Justin Fields. Just looking magical out there. I agree that it's a game of inches. Should have been able to tackle him on that one. That would have been nice, but couldn't bring him down, and that's because he made a special play. He was incredibly elusive. He broke my ankles on that play, and I was just freaking watching it. All right, here we go with Jan coming in, talking about, I'd like to know how Lynch knew it was a Trey play instead of a Justin Fields play. Talking about probably where he was drawing up plays coming back from Justin Fields' pro day. Kyle wrote Trey Lance's name under QB. Yeah, sure. Little skepticism. It's fair. I mean, let's say that a lot of these stories, they say these things for a press clipping, for a quote. I don't know. Try to be, clever. And I think that one has come back to bite John Lynch. I do think that was probably an odd thing to put out there to try and spin that there were going to be these miraculous plays, especially when we haven't seen that to this point. Just pretty frustrating. But again, what we saw with Justin Fields today highlights for me why so many 49ers pundits and folks were saying that the 49ers should take him, because he is special. I like this, Gabriel. Jimmy G came in with a different mentality today, and you saw it with what he was doing. Here, explained again, Gabriel going, he was the hunter this game, not the hunted. I think that sums it up well. I think that paints a picture of what I saw. Both of those runs into the end zone showed heart. Absolutely. Harold, I'm with you. The positivity. Let's be happy with this 49ers win. Let's enjoy it. It is a much needed win. It is indeed. I'm trying to catch up here. Oh, I see this one. Thankfully, you two let me scroll up this high, talking about Niner sickness. Hello, Rob. First-time listener. Welcome. Welcome. If you love the content, please subscribe to the channel. If you want to get alerted when I go live, because sometimes it is just off the cuff, like this one, a post-game presser, then click the little bell next to subscribe so that you get notified when I go live. And as always, I love doing this, and I love getting my voice out to more and more people, so I do appreciate if people do hit that like button. It means a great deal, and it does boost my voice. So I say thank you every time you do. Niner Sickness is subscribed. Look at that. He's in. They are in. With a name like Niner Sickness, right? You could be a young gentleman, could be a young lady, but my guess, a lot of male fans. So that's my guess. That's why I defaulted there. But I apologize if I was wrong. Leaving, coming in, beat writers should be like old linemen. The less you hear about them, the better. Yeah, Grant is a YouTube personality, but he's a very successful YouTube personality and also someone who is great at creating a dialogue. Sometimes the dialogue gets violent back and forth between the fans, but I think that's more of an us issue than just raising the conversation. I would say that. Ooh, look at this. Zap talking about in Dutch, his last name means prince. I'm still Schuh. It is what it sounds like. Schuh is Schuh in German. Benjamin Roberts, I have a feeling Henry will go down as one of the greatest of all times. Talking about Derrick Henry, I believe. Guy is special. Definitely. Gabriel, I got to agree that, yeah, we got options at quarterback. You really do have to look at Trey as being the more exciting option of the two. Okay, I like this call out, and I don't think I've seen the name from Gerardo coming in. Gerardo Sanchez. Kyle Shanahan must return to the roots of running the ball, establish the running, gameplay actions, and so will help Jimmy G to be able to pass the ball to the open player. I agree with this in that Kyle needs to get back to basics. I said it earlier in the week. The foundation of this offense is the run game. You have to get that going. You have to play complementary football. You want to play mistake-free complementary football. That is when this offense is dominant. That is when this offense truly get rolling. And it leads to what Harold's saying here, the shots down the field. We saw that today, and it builds off of a successful run game, and the successful run game builds off of what we're talking about from Pain Less Risen. Mitchell is an excellent back. That has certainly given us the explosiveness that we need from one of our running backs to provide a good running game, which then sets up the ability to take the shots down the field. It's all complementary in the Shanahan offense. Mayor Art, you're not alone in calling for everyone to want that trade. Jimmy, again, November 2nd is the trade deadline. So if the 49ers are going to do it, they're going to do it soon. My prediction is no, that they will not trade him because then the depth in the quarterback room is highly flawed. I don't think that they would feel comfortable with ooh, goodness, why am I forgetting poor Nate Sudfeld's name? Nate Sudfeld, indeed. I'm so sorry, Nate. If you see this, it was unintentional, not a slight at you. Good sir. Okay, I think Adam's calling something out here. Shanahan just said he was concerned with Jimmy Ward pulled quad. That's not good. And Kyle Nasua also left with an arm injury. Depth getting tested stressed at safety. Definitely getting tested. That's likely Wilson and Hufonga next week at safeties. Yeah, or Tony Jefferson. You could see, Kyle seems to have that conservative mindset sometimes. You could see him wanting more of a veteran presence with Tony Jefferson coming in there. So it could be either of those two coming into the starting lineup. Yeah, Jan, I agree with you here. Although I'm fine with people calling for it because that's their passion, but no one's trading for Jimmy, and the Niners aren't giving him up because the draft capital coming back doesn't offset the damage that they believe it does to their quarterback room. Simeon playing QB for the Saints. Ouch. I don't even know who. Trevor Simeon? Goodness gracious. Okay, talking about, yeah, Harold calling it out. Saints are winning for now, 10-7, but Winston got hurt and is out. Gabriel, I love this shout out to Jimmy, just acknowledging that he has handled the hate well. I mean, let's be real that, and I hope, not too many people on this call actually put hate directly at Jimmy, but if you shoot him on Instagram or anywhere he's got a public persona, that's tough, man. I can only imagine what he has gone through, and I do respect the brave face he's put forward. I know people will say, well, he gets paid $27 million to put on that brave face. Yes, he does, but he still could be a malcontent. He still could have caused more cancer in the locker room than merely having a 2-quarterback system already caused just naturally. So I do give him credit, and I like the nod there from Gabriel. Lee Ving coming in, actually a good win. Many middle of the pack teams in the NFC. So many middle of the pack teams in the NFC. Yes, the chance is there. I'm not sure after this win how complete of a team the 49ers are at this point. Still wholeheartedly believe in the level of talent that's on this roster. Still have questions about their ability to put it together for 60 minutes. I don't think they put it together for 60 minutes today. And you could say that if it were against a greater team, were today's performance to be had against Arizona or Los Angeles, you could make a strong argument that they would have been unable to win against either one of those teams. But they didn't. They played the Bears, and they freaking won. And I'm going to ride that victory for the rest of the day and ride that positivity for the rest of the week. Mayor, very optimistic about trading Jimmy for 2 number ones. I'll tell you what, if you get an offer of 2 ones for Jimmy, I don't care what it does to your quarterback room. Yeah, you take that. You take that offer. I'm not sure who offers it. TB12 getting the interception. He is fallible, just like the Cardinals are fallible. You like to see those teams show some weakness. Absolutely. Gizmo talking about we'll just pay Bosa's salary with Jimmy's money once we get it back. Yeah, that's a big salary that comes off of the books next year. You have to assume that there are very few scenarios where Jimmy plays himself into a starting role for next season. Very few instances of that. Pardon me while I turn my camera off just for one moment. We keep this thing going through everything. And sometimes you just got to recover yourself for a second. Just got to regain your composure. But don't you worry. Don't you worry. I'm back. There, he's back. He's back. Harold still with the positivity. Go Niners. I love it. All right, Jamie calls out an injury. When are we getting new-looking uniforms? Same old ones, play good, look good. Yes. Hey, man, how about the throwbacks? I mean, the throwbacks are my favorite. My favorite. All right, Nick coming in at me. I always appreciate that because I can see it. If he stays injury-free, Bosa is going to be expensive. I mean, wildly expensive. Like record-setting freaking expensive. Like setting the league record, for everyone type of expensive. Rookie season, 9 sacks, current season, 7. Yeah, he looks like he could end up with, 16, 18 sacks on the season. That's going to be big money to re-sign. And I'm telling you, the guy is savvy and not all that loyal to San Francisco from what I read of his body language. And I don't blame him with some of the treatment that he gets and the judgment that he gets. Feels like it's a little harsh sometimes. I don't blame him for holding out for his coin. I never blame a player for holding out for their coin. They have short careers. They can end on a dime. Get your money. Get your money. Yeah, Lee calling out, wish we could pay Bosa D Ford's money. That contract is brutal. But hindsight's 2020. I did like it when it was done. It was an early contract like the Jimmy G contract. You could question that. But at this point, it's not looking good. Wilson speed, going to help stretch the field horizontally. Jeff Wilson Jr. going to be coming back at some point. General Meow making the case for me as the Santa Clara mayor so that the Niners can become great again. Make the Niners great again. I would definitely not have a slogan of make the Niners great again. That would definitely not be my slogan. I can tell you that definitively. No shots, but I can tell you that definitively. Leaving, coming in, look at all the second-year DBs, the Niners with no gamer reps that the 49ers will have next season. Yeah, I mean, it's concerning, but the best players should play, no question. I think, Nick, looking at this, they added a phantom year to D Ford's contract. I really think after this season, there's no more dead money that we can relieve off of the books. So I do believe that after this season, there's an exit of sorts for the 49ers. Cannot Cannot say that definitively, but I'll look into it. Appreciate the question. Gabriel coming in. F the haters on the shoebox. Niners all day. Benjamin Roberts representing Sacktown in the house. There you go. Where else people calling in from? We got people across the pond. We got people in Sacramento. Where people coming in? Saints increasing their lead. Don't like to see that. Do the 49 AJ A. Lems coming in. A. Lems asking, do the 49ers feel like it's a win? I freaking guarantee they feel this win. I guarantee they are celebrating this win. That flight home is going to be such a relief because it could have been so dark, so negative, so painful. If it had been 6 weeks of losing in a row, 5 games in a row, that would have been brutal. They come off a 5-week slide, off of 4 games in a row, nearly 25% of the season spent losing back to back to back. Yes, the 49ers most definitely feel the win and will celebrate it tonight. Gerardo coming in at Rob Shue. I think for the first time, Kyle Shanahan did not use his cute play calls. Good for him. Need to be humble and be smart when planning a game. Gerardo, I love the call out and giving credit where credit is due and marking progression for our coach. There have been a lot of 49ers fans very angry with Kyle Shanahan. I have been irritated with Coach Shanahan, significantly irritated, angry at times. Other than starting out with the pass, which was, I believe, in response to how the Chicago Bears came out to stop the run, I didn't think he got cute. Early on, I was suspect about not diving into the run game early and getting it going early. But yes, credit where credit is due. Harold, I'll get you back in here. This win is very encouraging. Helps the team with the chemistry and great confidence builder. You needed it. It was a lifesaver, at least for me. Jason Walsh, what's up, buddy? Niners finally done it. Yes, they have. E. Kim is back in. Hi, Rob. What's up, E. Kim? How you doing? How you doing, Luke? Back in late again. Dock my pay 10%. That's it. That's it. We are dock and pay. Dock and pay around here. Niner sickness back in at me. Would you love to have you be my guest? Would love to have you be my guest on my YouTube channel. That would be, that would be fantastic. Reading is fundamental. Apologize for dropping your comment there. I'm always down for a collab. I haven't seen your channel yet. I'll go check it out. I would love to come on there. Appreciate the invite, and I will certainly make sure to reach out. Hit me, on DM. Go follow me on Twitter, The Left Shoe, and DM me there. I'd be happy to pair up and do that. Always love jumping on other folks' streams. Tomorrow, very excited on my own stream, just to call this out before getting into the next comment. Going to have Splash Brothers on tomorrow. Coming in, very excited for that. Absolutely very excited. If you don't follow him on Twitter, go follow Jordan Elliott. Great guest. Going to be a fantastic, level-headed conversation, nuanced conversation going down there. Yes. Leaving, being positive on Jimmy, saying that Jimmy looked better, actually drove the ball down the field. How about that throw to Debo? The throw to Debo Samuel. Gerardo coming at me. Kyle Shanahan must return to the roots, run the ball, establish the running, gameplay, action. Yes. I am with you on this. Okay, calling out. Jan says, Lance sat without his helmet on. He was not in the game plan. He wasn't. Didn't look like it. Didn't look like Kyle wanted to get him in. Did not get him in. Luke Walsh talking about the candy that he loves. Mango like candy. I like victories. Mongo like candy. I like victories. Good Blazing Saddles reference. Always like a good Blazing Saddles reference, or really any Mel Brooks film. Some of my favorite films out there for sure. If you haven't caught up on the Mel Brooks comedies out there, you are missing out on some delightful films for sure. All right, scrolling down, trying to get caught up. Let's see, we're a little bit behind, about 20 minutes at this point. We'll try and come in. Look at Tommy coming in, saying, what's up? What's up, boys? How you doing, Tommy? Good to see you. All right. Gizmo coming back in. Looks like D Ford's a free agent in 2024. Still an $11 million cap hit next year. I think that's a fixed cap hit that it's all dead at that point. We just pushed the can down the road, kicked the can down the road. I don't think we save anything from cutting him at that point. So it becomes a little bit of a moot point. Gerardo back in saying Elijah Mitchell, Jimmy G, Debo, Bosa, ball game today. Yes, looked very good. Interrupts calling out a question about next week. So if Kyler Murray's out next week and we win that game, Jeff Wilson is coming back soon. Oh, you get fired up here. We will have a more consistent and better run game. And if Ayuk gets more involved, we could be a great team again. This is the optimism I live for. I'm not resetting my expectations yet, but you're getting my hopes up here, Interrupts. You're getting me excited about going into this gauntlet. This is absolutely a big game. Chris Baker calling out next week will be scary. This is a very high-powered offense. E. Kim, Bears radio postgame ripping the team after today's game. Can you imagine what me would be saying if the Niners had lost? I get it. I get that Bears fans are upset because that's how we were after 4 in a row. And to them, they just lost to an incomplete team. They just lost to a struggling San Francisco 49ers team. I get it. I thought that they were a decent team today. I don't know that if I were a Bears fan, I would be ripping them. I'd be gutted, but I don't know. Devin Smith says, what's up? I say, what's up? What's up? Zapped, a win is a win. Agree. General Meow pointing out all the Niner great teams had both great pass and run game with a top defense. That's a recipe for success. Gabriel, I agree with this. Jimmy G does deserve a fresh start, and you could say he needs it. I think the confidence is shot. It is shot. All right, Vegeta7328, what's in that cup? Wouldn't you like to know? No, it is water. I do drink water to keep myself refreshed while doing the show because it is tough to talk for so long. I'm good. I'm a windbag. I can keep it going. I can keep mumbling, but you get a little cotton mouth there. And then you take it down the wrong pipe there. Not good. Not demonstrating good form here, ladies and gentlemen. All right, North Dakota Bison. Like to hear that. Mayor Art, welcome into the chat. Absolutely. All right. Good question to Gizmo. When is Bosa out of his rookie contract? I believe he's got one more year on it, right? Because this is his third year. So it'll be the fourth year, and then you'll have to tag him the fifth year in 2023. So yes, it should be 2024, assuming we give him the fifth year tag, which seems crazy at this point that we wouldn't. You would think he'd be a free agent in 2024 if we cannot lock him up. Gabriel talking about Jimmy's a starter in this league. I do think that he will start for some team at this point. I think somebody's got belief that they can coax the quick release Jimmy out of Jimmy Garoppolo and minimize the turnovers. And it's fair to wonder if Kyle Shanahan's perfectionism has gotten to Jimmy's head and whether he would be better off on another team and could reset a bit. Sean coming in. Sean Stockdale, I believe a first-time commenter. I believe first time getting him in today. I think they sit Kyler against us. I don't know that they're overlooking us. I wouldn't be surprised if Kyler sat just to keep him healthy. I doubt it would be as a result of overlooking us. Not that that's what you're suggesting here. Again, YouTube is jumping me forward in the comments, but I'm glad to keep a little more current. I apologize if I miss it. If I miss one of your comments and you feel it was a good one that you want to get back in, please copy and paste it and throw it back in. Please know I'm not missing any comments on purpose, barring an F-bomb in there. In that case, I am missing it on purpose. Leaving, coming in at me, Rob, would have been nice to see Sermon get some of that between the tackle runs and Mitchell staying fresh to be in on third down. Not sold on Hasty as a third down back. He did, though, have a very nice reception, right? We do have to give credit to Hasty on that one. Yes, indeed. But I agree. I just want to see my top back spelled because I think that it keeps them fresher legs. And when you're bouncing it to the outside, every bit of freshness counts. Absolutely counts. Look at this. Gabriel suggesting Jimmy on the Saints. Oh, that could be a combination. That could be a combo. You could see that this offseason. I could see that happening. General Meow, why can't we trade him to the Texans? I just don't see the Texans as being desperate. I don't think they feel they're in a win now mode. They seem like a rebuild to me. Devin Smith, Kyler, out 1 to 3 weeks. I have not heard anything of that. If this is fresh reporting, then you heard it here first from Devin Smith. But if it's just conjecture, I haven't seen anything on Twitter confirming as much. I'll be looking for it, though, because that would be big going up against the Arizona Cardinals. He certainly makes that offense run. Zombieland coming in at Gabriel. No, he's proven as much. Don't let the euphoria of a win cloud reality. Yeah, you wonder, people getting excited, a little recency bias, because we have seen inconsistency to this point. Adam, appreciate this. Talking to me, enjoyed the post-game show, man. Definitely got a new follower. I like the positivity and the content. Thank you, Adam. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I truly enjoy this. I truly enjoy interacting with all of you. I truly enjoy being on here. And if you enjoy it as well, please do subscribe. Please do hit the bell button next to it so you know when I come on live. Please do hit the like button if you like the content. If you don't, let me know. I respect the dissension as well. All right, trying to get to, oh, look at this, Tommy coming in. Niner Sickness is an OG. All right, I need to get in there. I need to check out that channel. There are still a handful of fantastic content creators that I need to get a collaboration going with, and that I need to check out their content. I can't get enough Niners content. Even though I'm on here doing this, I'm on other people's channels watching them too, because I'm just like all of you. I am a 49er fan, and I can't get enough of it. I just can't get enough of it. All right, keep on rolling. Keep on rolling. Here we go. All right, Harold coming in. I like that Jimmy G was on the sidelines rallying everyone. I didn't see that, but man, that's positivity to me. TV showed shots of Jimmy G pumping other players and showing encouragement. Good, Jimmy. This is the leadership that Jimmy G has not shown until today. Agree, Harold. Agree. He hasn't shown it till today. I'm fired up that you pointed that out to me because I didn't specifically notice it during the game. I'll look for it when I go back and watch the replay. Although I tend to watch the shortened replay so that, I don't have to spend 3.5 hours watching commercials again. And they tend to cut out that stuff. So I'm glad you called that out so I can look for it. Look for it for sure. Niner Sickness coming in. I love what Justin Fields is doing, but I still believe Trey Lance will be a better QB. I looked at both their highlights. When I'm evaluating talent coming out of the draft, I look at their highlight tape to get a sense of what their ceiling is. And I'll be honest, looking at both highlight tapes, I agree wholeheartedly, Niner Sickness, about the idea that Trey flashed to me greater potential. I'm not sure that that's going to work out that way. There are a lot of factors that go into it, but I'm with you on believing to this point that's what we see. That is what we see. Sean Stockdale talking about, I don't want players, I want picks, probably talking about what we can get at the trade deadline. This is interesting. I'm going to use this as a point to talk about the trade deadline right here. You have it coming up on November 2nd. November 2nd is the trade deadline, right? So this week, this is the last game that we've had before the trade deadline, and we won it. But we have multiple very difficult games coming up that could determine the way this season goes. Did the 49ers see enough that they will then sit pat, right? They feel good enough about themselves that they don't sell the players on one-year deals, because a lot of those players will help this team win games. Yeah, they could help other teams win games, but they're only going to get you back maybe a fifth, probably more like a conditional sixth, a couple of seventh rounders. What's the value to those draft picks that come back on players that you trade away versus the value they can add on the team? It's a question that needs to be debated. And are the 49ers buyers? Do they try and bring in anyone that can add to this season? To me, no Band-Aids. Nobody who only helps this season. If we win in 2021, great. But the development and going forward and setting the team up for 2022 is a much bigger priority to me. To me, that is for sure. Got people going back and forth saying what's up to one another in the chat. I love it. Love the positivity. I agree with Vegetea here, just making sure nobody will eat Jimmy's contract. Not in its entirety, I don't think. He's here until the end. Hopefully he just wins. I think that's true. I think at this point, most 49ers fans should accept the fact that Jimmy will be here until the end of this year. I don't think that he's here in 2021. I don't think there are many situations he could play lights out. I still struggle to think he'll be here in 2021, even if he did play lights out. If he won a Super Bowl, okay, that's a scenario where you bring him back for 2022, right? You typically don't ship off a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but what are the odds of that happening? Let's be honest with ourselves there. We're hopeful, we're optimistic, but let's be honest, and that's not an expectation going forward right now. All right, let's see some good comments here. Yep. Okay, here we go. Sean talking about he's only due 10 mil and you can drop him after the year at 2.5 mil. We talking about Jimmy here? We talking about Jimmy? That could be. Trading Jimmy for Taysom. Okay, so if you can bring back a serviceable quarterback, that's actually interesting, Mayor Art. It didn't mean that to sound that whatever you put up wouldn't have been interesting. Of course it would. But I'm intrigued by that because now you bring back something that, man, that's a tough one. That's something to ponder. If that were on the table, if you could trade Jimmy for Taysom, I need to look at the salary cap hits to see what we save in that instance. And I'd like to see what we would get in return. But yeah, we shall see. All right, I'm jumping forward a bit. If I miss anything, please catch it up, but I just don't want to fall too far behind in the comments, and I know that we are about 20 minutes behind. So I'm going to try to get to about 10 minutes behind so that we're, closer to reality here and stick with the good comments. Let me know what you're seeing, what you want to talk about. Ooh, Jets gang in here talking about, now I'm waiting for the Seahawks loss. I'm always waiting on a Seahawks loss for sure. That always makes me feel kind of good because Seattle, those fans are rough. I've been to a lot of games. I'm up here in Portland, Oregon, so every game that's in Seattle, I try to go. Those fans are pretty nasty, so it leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth every time I leave that stadium, even in a win, because they are a rough crowd and they like to talk some trash. No question. Some people thinking that, yes, in fact, Jimmy was auditioning for others. He certainly was auditioning for others next year. There's no question in my mind. Jets gang asking, did Lance play any today? He did not. 0 snaps for the rookie. And to me, that's what's so concerning. Yeah, Tommy calling it out. No snaps. We got the win. That's the most important thing. Let's acknowledge that first and foremost. I think everybody's with me on that fact. But we're talking about the future. We're talking about adding some excitement to this offense. We're talking about an offense that still staggered and sputtered and came out of the gate slow. That could have used someone creating a spark and really lifting this thing up. And damn it, if it doesn't seem like the rookie could do that. Doesn't it seem like he absolutely could do that? General Meow, I'm throwing this up because History of the World Part 1, if you haven't seen it, is to die for. Yeah, classic comedy. Those of you that are younger will be like, this is an old movie, but just go into it with an open mind. That and The Young Frankenstein. My favorite Mel Brooks film. No question about it. With a close second to History of the World Part 1. Indeed. Jets getting back in. They had stat that this first game, Jimmy G got the touchdown on the Bears. Shaking my head. The last 3 games, 3 different kickers were all field goals. We had not scored a touchdown on the Bears since 2015. Thank you for calling that out, Jets gang. That is a fact that, yes, up until today, not just Jimmy, the 49ers had not had a touchdown against the Bears in the last 3 games. People still, oh, here we go. Yeah, Jets gang call. I like the positivity. I like that you are on board here, Jets gang. We won. It's all that matters. Indeed. Man, this game is going downhill here. Saints score 22-7. What is going on? What is going on, folks? We need to get some momentum going against the Saints, don't we? Rick T coming in. First one from Rick, I believe. Our defense showed up. Offensive line showed up. We got to win. Our defense put in some work. Yes, I thought the defense started slowly today. Didn't think they were going to have it. Thought they lacked what it would take to get it done, but then they showed heart, didn't they? Isn't that what you saw? It's what I saw. I saw heart. I saw a defense that was able to finish the game having been on the field for 37 freaking minutes. 37 freaking minutes. Giles talking about Giles Darkson need to rewatch the game. Bucks are down 7-16. Oh, man. Come on, Bucks. Come on. Get it back. Uh-oh. Tampa Bay secondary is stretched thin at this point. Bebop Jones agree there wholeheartedly. That secondary has been tested by injury in the same way that the 49ers have. It has been tough for them going. All right. Yeah, Jamie Bryant calls this out. I'm with you 1,000%. It would have been chaos. It would have been rioting. There would have been violence on YouTube. I would have locked my door to try and kept the rioters out. Even here in Portland, people would have been breaking windows, but they do that on a regular basis anyway. But there would have been anger. But no, we didn't lose. We won. We ended the losing streak, and we are now on a win streak. Start the win streak, baby. All right, Zapped at me talking about, are the 49ers treating Shanahan like the Steelers treat their head coaches? I'm not sure in what way you believe this, but they're treating Shanahan in a don't panic mode, which I do appreciate because we're talking about Jed York, who has a tendency to overreact. He absolutely has in the past shown an ability to overreact and do things foolishly. And I still believe in Kyle Shanahan, so I do not want a gut-wrenching reaction. I don't want that type of the back and forth. I am glad that they're being patient. I am glad that they're letting Kyle figure this out. My fear is Kyle figuring it out for somebody else. That's what I do not want to see. I think that the flaws in him as a head coach are fixable. I would love to continue to see the humility from him that I've seen in the press conferences the past week. Tommy coming in with shots. Rob, you have a nice bald head. I'm heading there. Pun intended. Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate that. I try to keep it nice and clean. It's in need. Got to get back in with the trimmers. I keep it at a 1. I don't bick it. I'm not a fan of bicking. Too much trouble. Too many cuts on the head, But yeah, got to keep it high and tight. Got to keep it high and tight. Ooh, look at Bebop for Jimmy from Michael Thomas. I mean, come on now. That would be a done deal. Done frickin' deal. Yes, indeed. Leaving coming in. Rob, if the Niners get on any kind of roll, the Seahawks and the Colts losses are going to be huge for any playoff spot. Yeah, tough. We have a lot of tiebreakers we could get into. We could get into a lot of situations here, but it's the idea that we're still in it. We are still competing. To me, that is the good news. I may have gone back too far on that one. I'm trying to stay current. I want to get back into some folks that haven't had a chance to get on the screen and make sure. Oh, look at this, Tony. I mean, I got to throw it up because we're back to Mel Brooks. Blazing Saddles or Spaceballs, 2 epic films. When you add those 2 to the 2 previously mentioned, in History of the World Part 1 and Young Frankenstein, you see 4 epic films. If you haven't watched them, get on it. Get on it. Absolutely. All right, Gabriel. Jimmy played well. Happy for Jimmy. Happy indeed. Ooh, Zapped coming in with a little shot for Spinal Tap. That's a good one. 11. But this one goes to 11. 11. Yes, indeed. Turn it up past 10. That's what we're doing. Malibu Surfer looking like a new one in the comments. What's up, Malibu Surfer? How you doing? Mayor Art, it's never been. This one may be a response to some. We'll try to suss it out anyways. Mayor Art, it's never been Jimmy G when he's healthy. In New England, Jimmy got to command the offense and call audibles. I needed the same thing for Kyle in 2017 when they went on that 4-game win. So maybe what Malibu is saying here, and I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but my interpretation is that Jimmy has in the past expressed an ability to control from the line of scrimmage and control an offense, and that Kyle has somewhat taken that away from him. If that's what you're saying, I would agree with that. I think it fits into Kyle believing his scheme is the way in which you need to be successful. That if only you can, he'll give you the right answers to the test as the quarterback, and your job is to simply take the answers he's already given you and correctly apply them to the questions on the field. That was the last of the water, folks. That was the last of the water. The next time I get parched, we may have to call this thing. I'm enjoying it. You're enjoying it. But you can only go so long before your mouth just turns into mush. That's faux show. All right, Wayne Zaya coming in. Mosley Baddock coverage tech, new coverage tech. Been that way for years. Sherman mentioned it way back. That's interesting. I saw E-Man playing off a lot today. That was my notice on Emmanuel Mosley, was just seemed to be giving huge cushions at the line of scrimmage. And that led to easy connections underneath. And I don't see Chicago. I guess that maybe that's correct. So as I was going to say that I don't see Chicago as a deep team threat. But then you look at Justin Fields, and while his completion yards are very low, that's because of it was 179 yards lost to sacks coming into this game, 22 sacks, 179 yards of sack yardage. So that deducted from his average per completion. But if you took out the sack yardage, he pushes it down the field a lot. So I guess that's what they were seeing. I guess that's what E-Man was playing against in giving so much cushion. But it created a lot of easy throws and catches. And that's not what I want to see from my defense. You know, I want you to get up there and make it tough on them. Challenge them at the line of scrimmage. Challenge them. Absolutely. Let's see here. Good, clever name here. Come Get Your Mom says, every time I start to hate Jimmy, he wins me back. Every time. Every time. Uh-oh, here we go. Zombieland keeping us appraised of what's going on. Bucks scored. Saints 23-14. Let the comeback begin. Let the comeback begin. Come on. I can't root for Tampa Bay too hard, but want every game to go our way, don't we? Malibu Surfer back in. Kyle appears to take the handcuffs off Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy made lethal quick throws and progressions compared to when Kyle would tell Jimmy where to look and where to throw. So I think I did get it right, and I think we are in agreement there that Jimmy has been in some way very paralyzed by this system, very paralyzed by the, I believe, obsessive compulsive perfectionist that is our head coach, that creates a tough environment to play in. Tough environment to play in. AJB, I am being positive, baby. We did win. We did win, and that feels good indeed. Got my smile back, and it ain't forced. It's a real one, and I'm not tired of smiling even after being on this live for as long as we have. Yeah, agree with this, Mayor. Kyle's definitely a control freak. It could be both a blessing and a curse for him. You know, it's probably that control freak nature that allows him to obsess over every play design, that allows him to just pour over dialing up these amazing runs that you see, the misdirections, the end arounds, the jet sweeps that really get defenses on their heels, and then operating from those same sets in play action or taking the shots down the field, right? Those things, and then being able to run multiple ways out of the same set. It is his obsessive compulsive and perfectionist nature that I think makes him so good at doing that. But it is also what seems to be his perfectionist nature that has driven some players crazy and has slowed development of others. The evidence does seem to be there, I would say. Malibu Surfer calling out 0 punts today. 0 punts. Any day with 0 punts, gotta be a good day. Unless it's a bunch of turnovers, but we had 0 turnovers as well. 0 punts, 0 turnovers. Cause for celebration, 49ers. Lift that logo up. That's for sure. All right, trying to stay current in the comments. Don't want to fall too far behind. So again, if I skip a good question by you, copy and paste that mofo back up in here because I want to get to it. while staying current, while staying up. Kurt the Chameleon, don't think I put it in yet, so I want to get you in. He's had 4 years. If he can't win with Lance next year, it is over. Kurt, I get you, man. I'm trying not to go there just yet. I'm trying to enjoy the win today. But yes, I think that you need to see development of Lance this year, right? If we miss the playoffs, that is going to be a tough circumstance for Kyle Shanahan. Tough circumstance for Kyle Shanahan. And he will have owned it at that point. He will have deserved it. If we miss the playoffs this year, I'll put a lot of that blame squarely at the feet of Kyle Shanahan, and I think it is fitting. Jamie talking at me, 49ers quality control. I try to give as much intake as I can. Oh, EMA talking about, I don't want Michael Thomas. I want Alvin Kamara. I would love to have Alvin Kamara. That guy is so special. I tried to get him in so many of my fantasy leagues because that guy is just freaking legit. I'm with you. But there is, there's some legitimacy to Michael Thomas and the Saints team having some issues. I think they're still hot on Alvin Kamara. I think they still love that dude. That's for sure. Oh, I didn't see this. Wayne calling out that Trey didn't look too happy when Jimmy ran in for those scores. You thinking Trey wanted those scores for himself? He might have. That is for sure. Okay, Charlie Nilo coming in. Charlie, what's up? What kind of trade do you think the 49ers can pull before the trade deadline? Talked about this just a moment ago, but I'll sum up what my thoughts are on it. I think this game puts the 49ers in an awkward situation where they're neither really selling or buying. I don't think you can be wildly confident about where this team is headed just based off of this one win. You should be excited. You should celebrate it. You should be thrilled that the 49ers come off of a losing slide. That is huge. Thank God we're all celebrating right now instead of wallowing in some frickin' malaise because we've dropped 5 in a row. But I don't know that it gives you confidence the 49ers will be competitive. So you can't shift to the buy, fill the holes. I'm good with buying, trading for players that have value beyond 2021. If someone helps you this year, but also sets you up nicely to fill holes on this team going forward, I'm all in. I do think that this stops a fire sale. The win today stops the 49ers from trading DJ Jones, K'Wan Williams. I'm not sure how dinged up Kwaski is, but I think it stops him from trading Kwaski or Sherfield. Any of the players that have flashed decent play and are on one-year deals. Had they lost, it would have been time to ship those out for whatever you could get because you're unlikely to re-sign them beyond this season, and you need to start filling the roster for 2022. Now you have to still weigh, are we going to be good this year? Sean Bullard, I hope you are right that Tampa does win this game against New Orleans. Yes. All right, Malibu Surfer, I'm liking your comments. Trey Lance has slow foot speed, slow throwing release. Debo even said he prefers Jimmy Garoppolo to throw the ball to him. I wonder if that's a reflection on his mental processing at this point, just not being comfortable on the field, and that will speed up. Yes, he has held on the ball too long for sure, and the windup is not as quick as Jimmy, but I'm not getting on the rookie too hard here for that. I think that's a natural product of not being extremely well prepared. I'm with Gabriel here that Trey needs experience to get beyond that. And with the idea that, yeah, he can play, he's a playmaker, no problem. No problem. I agree with Malibu here, though, that Kyle got his extension. He goes nowhere this season. I think he's got a full nother season to get things right. I think it would take a disastrous finish to this season and another bad season next year. Then I think you could see us moving on and eating the rest of that contract. That is for sure. Calling out that General Meow hasn't heard that. I don't know one way or the other, so I won't call out a lie or anything like that. But I hadn't heard that before. Nick coming in. Someone get this lad a water bottle. Somebody ship me a water bottle. Someone hit the Amazon Prime. We need the delivered within the hour. Get me some water so that I can keep going. I'll just keep suffering through. That's going to be the goal today. Just make it happen. We're celebrating the victory. We're wrapping up the frickin' a win. And AJB calls out that I'm almost at 1,000 subs. So that's reason for excitement in and of itself. Let's get this thing to 1,000. We trying here. We trying for 1,000. We have been approaching it for a little bit, sneaking up on that. So, if we can, that is fantastic news to me. Absolutely. I obviously want to stop and say thank you to all of you being here, watching this, participating in the chat first and foremost, and having that dialogue, what I value so much. If you do like the content, please do subscribe. Please do hit the little bell button to remind you of when I come on live. Please do like the videos that you enjoy. Please do comment in the chat and comment on the videos afterward, because I love responding to that. If you go back through my page and look at all the videos, I try to respond to every comment. The only ones I don't are if they're crazy negative or something like that, or YouTube doesn't notify me of all of them. And that's annoying, because if my phone is off, I don't get the alerts. I love going back and forth with fans, dude. You and I are simpatico. All of us. I love it. Love it. Luke does correctly point this out. I see this comment, Luke, and this is insightful because this is going to be important going into Arizona and LA the next 2 weeks. We were losing on third downs on both sides of the ball, struggling there. They were. But towards the second half, and then most specifically into the fourth quarter, it started to roll. And that is a result of getting that run game going and wearing down a defense, even though the 49ers were badly beaten in time of possession. Going back to 37 minutes for Chicago, only 23 minutes of possessing the ball, but still able to get that run game going to where they're mowing down first downs to finish the game. Absolutely love it. Bryant Culp at me talking about super happy about the win, but man, Joey Sly missed too many kicks. He did. I think we get Robbie Gould back next week. At least that's when he's eligible to return. There was a buy in there. I did hear initially a 4 to 6 week guesstimate on how long he'd be out with that groin pull. That just, it makes you wince just thinking about that injury as a kicker too. Like, a groin pull, painful enough, but when you need to swing that leg at the rate of speed that an NFL kicker does, goodness gracious, you don't want to come back too early from a groin pull. No, you do not. But I heard initially 4 to 6 weeks. I think this would put him, in that 5 week timeline. So that's right in there. Maybe we get Gold back. And at that point, then you only have to worry about the real long kicks. That's where he struggles. But, inside of 45 feels like Gold is solid there. Solid Gold. Benjamin Roberts, Arizona is a top defense, and they did not pick Lance apart. LOL. I think this wasn't in response to someone believing that Lance would have gotten picked apart today by the defense. I thought Lance played really well against Arizona, and I think that it was really a solid performance. I would like to see I'd like to see more from him. I don't know that I'm making any switch, right? Jimmy played well today. I get sticking with Jimmy, and I think that it's about getting snaps for Trey. He had success against this Arizona defense, so let's get back into those things he showed comfort in. Let's get him rolling out, play action, roll out to the wide side of the field, be able to use his legs, cuts the field in half for his vision, but if he sees someone like Ayuk or Sherfield streaking down the opposite sideline, absolutely has the cannon arm to ship it back cross field, the type of throw you're not supposed to make as a quarterback. He has that type of arm. So not only do you simplify the reads, you've rolled him out of the pocket. He can use his legs to escape if he wants to. Simplify and allow him to take advantage of the shots and just put him in situations in between the 40s where it's a low risk, high reward type of a situation. I think that feels like a recipe to get him involved. Absolutely get him involved. Sean, I'm going to call this one out because I agree with you. Even though I'm a Jaquiski Tart fan, Hufonga has shown enough to me at this point, and Tart is on a 1-year deal, and it would seem unlikely to be re-signed. And so that's the key there. Unlikely to add value to this 49ers team beyond this season, and feels like a competitive team, a team in the hunt could want a very serviceable starting safety in the league, and you could get back a conditional 6th rounder potentially. There's value there. Absolute value to getting a 6th rounder back. Gabriel, I'm putting this up because I don't either. I do not support Amazon. I try my hardest. It is so hard not to use Amazon at all, but I try. I live 2 blocks from a Whole Foods, so that makes it very difficult not to shop for groceries there because it's so damn convenient. But I don't use the Amazon Prime. I just, it frustrates me. I don't like monopolies. I don't. All right. We talking about spicy water in the comments. Interesting. Okay. We're going to try and find some good ones. We get scrolling down. Okay. Charlie Nilo coming back in. What kind of picks and players can we get for Jimmy Garoppolo and Raheem Mostert? I don't think either one really has trade value. I don't know that either really would get shipped out. So you look at, we'll do one by one. We talked about Jimmy G, that there's a high price there. The New Orleans trade is interesting in that they could feel that they're competing. The 49ers may not want to help New Orleans compete because that's one of the wild card teams that 49ers are likely to be competing against for that 7th spot. And people's jobs are on the line. So competing for that 7th spot may seem foolish to fans because it's like, dude, we're going to get our asses handed to us in the playoffs anyway. Why are you giving all this up to try and go for that 7th seed? But that could save jobs. And if I'm Kyle Shanahan and I can save the career of one of my friends by winning a couple of games, I am going to try it. Mayor, I appreciate it. Great show, Shoe. I just remembered I didn't get to the second part. Mostert, he's on the expiring deal and injured for the rest of the season, and he's 30 years old. So I don't know that anyone is going to give up a draft pick just to get priority on re-signing him as a free agent when they can just negotiate with him in free agency in the offseason. Maybe pay him a little bit more because they don't have the rights, but still be able to bring in Mostert if they wanted to. Luke talking about, very important, this is key because it wasn't a huge number of snaps. If I'm correct, it was 67 snaps for the Bears offense. Let's get to that real quick so that we can talk about the difference between time of possession, but actual stats. So 37 minutes, but yes, 67 total plays for the Chicago offense. So not a huge number, but a fair number of snaps. That's higher than your average. Absolutely. But you're right. That did contribute to the defense being fresh enough to contribute. Megamix, I don't know what it was for, but I like the cool emoji there because I don't think I had seen a comment from you, so I wanted to get you in. I'm feeling cool right now with the Niners victory. How about all of you? You guys feeling cool at this moment in time? You feeling like we could run through a brick wall? I mean, my confidence is not through the roof right now for the 49ers, but my optimism is increased. Absolutely. Yep, come get your mom says, yep, deadline on the 2nd. This was the last game, last one. Leaving, calling out, yeah, the Robbie Gould contract hasn't looked great in hindsight. Should have left Gould in Chicago. He wanted out, should have let him out. Malibu talking about Rodgers will be a 49er. It'd be an interesting set of circumstances for that to work out because he caved, man. I thought he was going to hold tight and sit out. I really saw resolve in Aaron Rodgers' face, and then it seemed that he caved there and didn't get the leverage I thought he would in the deal that he caved for. He's still under contract for next season. It's a gimmicky type of a contract that the team has outs, but I don't think that Rodgers got concrete outs in his renegotiated contract, which is so strange. Mega Mix, you are welcome. I love the live. I love being in here, and I appreciate anyone who comes in. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the subscriptions. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the people who hit the bell so they can join early. I love it. I love the enthusiasm. Absolutely. Ooh, here we go. Good question about injuries, though we don't like to get into that, but it's the sad reality of this team believing that we have to deal with them. What injuries are going to impact the 49ers the most with the rest of the season coming? I'm going to take the positive route here and say what's going to influence the 49ers the most is actually the players they get returning from injury. So the George Kittles, the Jeff Wilson Jr.'s, the Dre Greenlaws. The return of those 3 players alone gives me some confidence, because I'm gonna try to stay optimistic that Jimmy Ward's injury is hopefully not a long-term one. Hopefully we can patchwork the safeties. Hufonga looked great in place of Jaquiski Tart, and I thought that Flanagan Falls has been very, very good. He did miss. I'm thinking Ashair has been really good. Flanagan Falls, not so much, which is why I'm looking forward to the return of Dre Greenlaw. But honestly, I don't see any big injuries coming out right now that I'm terrified of, and I see positivity. I see some positive things on the horizon. Absolutely. Zombieland, I think I agree with this, that offensive struggles are due mostly to poor play calling. Certainly, suspect order of operations in the play calling. The inability to get the run game going first and to dip into the passing heavily. Suspect to me, suspect. Mega Mix clarifying, yeah, he means cool updates. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for the contributions. Absolutely. Chester talking about Trey needs about 10 starts to really begin to evaluate him. Agreed that we probably won't have enough on Trey to really know what we have this year. We've got to have some faith that things are progressing in the right direction toward the end of this season. That my biggest ask of Coach Shanahan is to wrap his arms around the rookie, to really embrace him, to really exude warmth. Let the kid know that you care about him. I have mentioned this many times. If you've heard me say it and not watched it, I say go watch it. There's a 3-minute video of John Harbaugh, brother to our old coach, Jim Harbaugh. John Harbaugh for the Baltimore Ravens talking about servant leadership. It's old enough that there's Ray Rice in the video in the background. So you know it's from years ago, but look at the success, the sustained success that John Harbaugh has had to this point, some of it painful for 49ers fans in the victory in the Super Bowl. Look at the way in which his players respond to him. Look at the way in which Lamar Jackson would run through a brick wall for John Harbaugh. Look at the way that John Harbaugh reaches out on the field to Lamar Jackson when it's 4th and short. You know John Harbaugh has already decided in his mind, we're going for it here. We're going for it on 4th and 1. But you can see him mouth the question to Lamar, are we going for this? Do you want to go for this? And then Lamar says yes. Of course he says yes. And now he's bought in because you have allowed him to contribute to the decision-making process. You've empowered him. Empowered him. Kyle's system, from my observation, doesn't empower players. It constricts players. It forces them to play within what Kyle believes to be a very effective system. And it is a very effective system. But it doesn't allow for the frickin' goodness to shine through. Chester, I don't even know how I got from your question to what I was saying there, but I feel good about what I said, even if it was a roundabout way in which I got to it. All right, Nick coming in with a comment about Dak. I see that. Dak Prescott inactive for tonight. So if Vikings win, could make it a little more challenging for the playoffs. Let's just hope the Vikings have a loss in them. I do see that's a tough team with talent, but very, very inconsistent. Ooh, I see some trash talking in the comments. I just ask people to be respectful. I don't like to see that. I'm not gonna necessarily block anybody without seeing what happened. I did that before and it was a mistake, but I just ask people to be respectful to one another and recognize that, sometimes somebody will make a comment toward you that's more of a joke and it's better to just take it personally, just because I don't want the chat to get derailed in shots back and forth. So as a favor to me, if you would, just, let it go, let it slide off your back. And if someone can't let it go, try to be the bigger person between the two. And I respect the person that is able to let it go more than those that want to continue it on, right? Try and squash the beef. That's my take. All right, AJB, was tired of that L train. Weren't we all, my man? Great show, Rob. Go Niners. I appreciate that, AJB. I appreciate that. And with, a little, I'll look through the chat here, but with it devolving into, a little bit of an argument, maybe we will maybe we'll wrap it soon because we could just be running out of things to talk about, and it's leading us to just take shots at one another instead of enjoying what was a fantastic win. Hey, MILF Hunter, good name there. Yes, I am definitely going to try and set up the super chat so that you guys can donate. And I truly appreciate that. And most importantly, YouTube has a lot of revenue coming in. So I'll be happy when they start to share their revenue stream with me as well, because that comes from them, the big corporation. But I appreciate that you want to do that. And that's fantastic. I truly, truly want to say thank you for that. And I look forward to getting to the monetization standpoint of that. Yes, Tommy. Yes, I am still on Go Niners. He just subbed. If you haven't, please do. I appreciate it, Tommy. You're back in just to see me wrap up. Yeah, I'm running out of gas here, that's for sure. But I was just so fired up, just so happy with this team and the way in which the 49ers played today. And I'm going to end on a positive note here. I want to say thank you to everyone that hung with me the entire time. This has been a fantastic show. I truly enjoyed exuding the positivity. I truly enjoyed bringing your positivity in here and reacting to it. I get the people that wanted to say, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff to talk about this week. We will absolutely have some fun things to get through. I want to make sure that I get it in here correctly so that I have a show coming up on Monday, and I want you guys to join me. Jordan Elliott is going to be on with me. Super excited to have Jordan Elliott on. If you don't know him, he is at Splash Cousin on Twitter. Super nuanced and insightful guy. Very excited to have him on. We will try to get you a time on that, but we'll be looking around that 5 o'clock hour tomorrow evening. Very excited about that. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Thank you for joining me today. Look forward to seeing you all again. Celebrate this win tonight. Be happy for the fact that the 49ers got back in the win column today. We've got reasons to smile, people. Here's to you. Here's to the San Francisco 49ers. Go out there. Enjoy the rest of the game action today. Enjoy the Sunday night football game. And we will see you all again soon. Here's to you, Niner faithful.